Hello and welcome to Quest Me, the Star Wars podcast that takes you on a quest through legends and new canon. My name is Josh, and I'm your forever host and silver-toothed pirate. Arg! Joining me tonight, of course, is my lovely co-host and real-life hero. His name is Justin. How are you doing today, sir?
Oh, who lives in a pineapple under the sea? I'm good, man.
I already fight copyright every week. We can't do this.
I think I have a gold tooth better.
Yeah, gold, that's good.
Yeah.
We each got our
silver
tooth.
Exactly. Show our teeth off.
I'll try and not hide my silver tooth behind my mic for the show so people can understand that I'm a pirate.
Yarn.
Good to have you on, though, Justin.
Thank
back
you.
Again for this week. Good to see you back at home, not all dressed up and ready to work.
I don't like being at work and doing this.
Yeah.
I had to miss a whole episode. That sucked.
Hey, at least you're in this episode because this was a wonderful episode.
Oh, wasn't it? And our guest, man. Oh, I'm so excited for the guest.
Absolutely. But first, we have to introduce. Here's my mic. So here's the thing, guys. Here's what's going on, right? I just moved this last week, and I moved in with my girlfriend and a couple of kids, and so my studio is right by the kids area, and I'm trying to not be very loud. So I did turn up my mic a little bit. Hopefully that helps. And I'm sure as the night goes on, things will get a little bit louder. But just if I am a little quiet, that's why. And thank you, Claire, for mentioning that. The podcast version of this will be much more crisp and loud. Hello to Ricky as well in the chat. He said, amazing picture of Justin. And, I
thank
agree.
you, Ricky.
I hope Ricky sticks around for the whole episode because I have an amazing picture of him, introducing him as our guest for next week. So stick around, Ricky. I think you'll love it. No, you'll hate it, but it's wonderful. Anyway, let's introduce our next co-host. He's a co-host, a permanent co-host. My only correction from last week is that I called Phil our guest and not a co-host.
Oh,
I feel
how dare you?
kind of like an asshole. So, hello, co-host Phil. How are you doing, sir?
I quit. I'm just kidding. No, I'm doing good. I'm doing all right. Yeah.
It's good to have you back, of course,
I
as
am
usual.
stoked for this episode. As you can see, I have upgraded my backdrop accordingly.
Yeah, that's so awesome.
Ooh, I like it. Pirate's life for me.
My backdrop, blah. These drinks from the bar far away are already hitting me, Phil, so it's here we go. But my backdrop is always green because I move a lot, and so if I just keep it green, nothing ever has to change. I don't have to continue to redo my collectibles and things, so we'll just keep it green. Anyway, thanks again for being here, Phil. I love that background. I am excited to talk some Mandalorian and pirates with you guys tonight.
Likewise.
We have another really special guest joining us tonight. He is no stranger to Quest Me. He's been around a couple times. He's been around the Twist My Arm podcast, the Sudden But Inevitable podcast. He is our resident Browncoat. His name is Steve, also known as Sinecera. How are you today?
Oh, I'm doing pretty good. Glad to be finally on the flagship podcast that I missed before. actually starting to listen to you fellas. I joined up around Sudden Butt, but I heard about this one before, so ended up being on Boba Fett and Andor. But I feel like I'm finally, actually, wait, no, I feel like I was about to finally be on the flagship, but I feel like we're actually doing a podcast about Rangers of the New Republic and not about the Mandalorian. So,
ooh, funny you say that because we have a lot to talk about in that regards later. But it's great to have you back.
Great to
Steve.
be here.
What is it, like your third or fourth time overall?
Give or take, yeah. I think I did one Boba, one Andor, and then one Sudden Butt.
Yeah.
And this is your last.
Oh,
Whoa,
it's been an honor.
No, obviously we like you.
It's a good thing Justin doesn't book the guests.
Oh.
Ooh. Sorry.
Oh
sorry.
my God,
Sorry.
I'm so jealous of that Darksaber, man.
That is awesome, though.
For those of you at home, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, the problem now is that, somebody's got to go fight him for control of Mandalore.
Oh, I didn't buy that. I won it in single combat at WonderCon.
Is it heavy?
Yes, it is actually. They did a good job with that.
Well, you got to become one with the Darksaber, and then you'll be able to use the Darksaber.
Just believe in yourself.
What's been going on in the world of Sinecera over there, Steve?
Lots of boring things when it comes to work, but lots of overtime. And even though I'm tired and sore, I'm happy to be here. It has been a productive weekend. My wife and I actually won a bidding war last night, and we have finally bought our honeymoon. 10 years in, and we are finally going on our honeymoon at the end of this year, getting it done. But someone was trying to outbid us, and we won. But we also negotiated, so we didn't get oversold either. So very, very proud,
man. That's
Thank you very
exciting.
What'd you bid on, though? No, I'm curious.
A 5-day holiday to Tuscany.
Holy shit!
Yeah, it's like a private apartment villa, and with all the bells and whistles. And so we're going to do that. Now I just have to negotiate the realm of updating my passport, which is proving difficult in these strange times.
Yep.
Not a single appointment for the next 2 months. So
Yeah,
Ouch.
painful.
that sounds about right.
So I refuse to fail. Otherwise, about $3,500.
Just
Can you do it online?
No.
Oh, I did mine online.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know.
No,
did
just,
you just renew it online? I don't even know anything
Yeah.
about passports. I don't even have a passport, so good luck.
This
to
is my
me
first
living
time
in
getting a
country.
passport. So
That's
that's
why.
why.
That's where the issue comes in.
Yeah.
But congrats. That sounds awesome. Just
That is cool.
watch out for the Tuscany Raiders.
ooh, I have a defender in the chat who's I have a backup jarhead here who's defending her doc. Thank you.
Oh yes.
So Justin, I can't be fired because I have support behind me.
That's awesome. Well, yeah. I'm excited for this show for sure. I believe Justin had some things to say.
Oh yeah. I was gonna say thank you so much for joining us, Steve. We've been really excited to have you and be on our live little show. By the way, which is going to be live on Sundays around 8:30 Mountain at youtube.com/@QuestMe. Make sure to like us, subscribe, and ring that bell to notified every time we are live.
Very nice.
I read Justin a script every weekend.
Yeah, I totally spaced off my cue. I didn't have the notes.
So that sounds newer than
Yeah.
what I've been hearing this season is that Justin started plugging the show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yep.
but speaking of plugs for the show, you can find us on your socials, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just check out the Quest Me podcast. We'll throw links in the show notes at the end of the night as well.
Absolutely. I'm telling you guys, my TikTok is fire. So follow me at Quest Me Podcast. Like I'm telling you, dude, fire.
Mine is not. It's rather boring, so don't bother.
Well, you can follow me and watch all of our awesome videos. Some of the videos from tonight will be on TikTok. Some of our segment videos go up on there. So that's one of the main things I have that. But I also like to follow trends. I'm a trendy boy.
So trendy.
Yeah.
Super trendy.
But it is so good to have you guys all here. I am so excited to be podcasting again. This last week was kind of crazy. getting everything set up, having to edit last week's podcast, getting all moved, and then having to get all set up. Man, I gotta just toot my own horn for a minute because I got it done, and it was rough.
Attaboy. Attaboy.
So,
Nicely done.
but thank you. So, anyway, let's move on to our first segment of the show, which is a new one for this season. Which I mean, we're gonna keep it going forever and ever and ever as long as Phil is on the show.
It's wonderful.
Yeah. Phil, what am I drinking tonight?
So tonight's cocktail is inspired by a sequence of a couple of Gorian Shards pirates enjoying some shore leave on Navarro. And I call it Gorian's Grog. Got a nice little skull cup for it tonight. This is 2 parts white rum, 1 part Midori, which is a melon liqueur. That's where the green comes from. 1 part lime juice and 1 part orgeat, which is like an almond, an almond syrup.
It's delicious. I've never.
Yeah,
had
no,
that
it's
before.
dope. I made myself a double.
Ooh. Getting down.
So we'll throw the recipe for that one into the show notes tonight as well.
Absolutely. My girlfriend's a bartender, and every week I say, I'm going to have her make me this drink. And this week she actually did. And I'm so stoked to be drinking the same drink that you are. It's pretty much the same color, too. We did a good job. My ring light is just really bright, is all it is.
It's all good.
But I have a timer set for 20 minutes, and she's going to bring me another one. So I better finish this one up, huh?
You have her on a timer?
I do.
Oh, my Lord. That must be nice.
Hey, man. She likes to make drinks, and Phil likes to create drinks, and so look at that, best of both worlds.
I do. It's
Phil is
a
a
fun
wonderful
bit of a
creator.
hobby. It's
Wonderful at making your craft.
Agreed.
I didn't get the memo that we were all having the same drink.
Oh, sorry, man.
Mine turned out
Yours is also
green as well.
Yeah.
In fact,
What is your drink over there, Steve?
it is green.
It's kale.
Oh, I'm not that healthy.
It's that
Good
green
Lord.
drink.
This
Green
actually
chartreuse?
this is inspired by the Star Trek episode that I did reference. Star Trek is
Very
the other franchise that everyone here should know and love.
We've had some Star Trek guests
Hashtag
on.
Open Pike Night.
We get
Ooh,
green drinks.
plug.
We get the It Is Green line from Scotty in the original series, and then echoed by Data in Next Generation when he meets Scotty.
To Scotty, correct.
Yeah.
So
No, that's
mine is 2 ounces of Finlagen, which is a peat scotch, and 1 ounce of Midori, and then a bar spoon of ginger syrup,
Ooh,
shaken.
that
And
sounds spectacular.
It is indeed, and I think it definitely tastes like something that came from space.
Yeah.
So, but I was inspired to do this tonight based on seeing the pirates run around with that bottle of green stuff, and I'm like, the Star Trek drink could be here as well.
Yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, man.
I just can't imagine mixing anything with scotch.
That's
it is a knockoff version. It is supposed to be Lefroy, but I'm not going to use Lefroy in a mixed drink. I'm going to drink it straight. So
that's where you get the blended scotches.
Exactly, the knockoff I have no problem mixing.
Gotcha.
And the peat and the fruit is I don't know if you ever thought of smoky melon, but smoky melon is what is happening in this beverage.
Is that your pimp name?
Smoky melon?
No,
Smoky
that's
melon.
banned.
It is now.
It is now. That's awesome.
My hat is out in the car, so I cannot don it. It's very good.
Watch out, Smoky Melon's coming.
Very nice.
Scatter.
Claire says, because you can love both. Thank you. She's referring to Star Trek and Star Wars. Yes, apparently we are both over here at Quest Me. We've had guests from the Star Trek podcast realm. From Crusher Convo, we had Jesse last week. And then from Open Pike Night, we had Jesse a couple weeks ago. So definitely check out those shows. They're a lot of fun. And yes, you can love both. I also love Star Trek. I just watched the latest episode of Picard. Fantastic season. So,
Live long, and this is the way to prosper.
yeah.
Is the season done?
I like
No,
it. Not
we
yet.
got 3 more, I think.
Couple
Okay.
couple more. But excellent drink tonight, Phil. I'm so excited that I actually get to try it. To me, it's kind of like a green milk.
A little
like
bit.
A Star Wars green milk, you know? It's got
I
that-
actually thought about doing a blue tinged White Russian at some point along the line. We'll see what happens
Ooh.
before we got 3 more episodes. I got 3 more drinks to come up with this season. So
And we're
I
gonna
can
keep this
do
show
that.
going. I mean, we're gonna keep the show going after this season here. We'll take a couple
we
week
still
break,
got to do.
and then
we
we'll
still got to
keep-
do the
we'll
Last
the Thrawn
Command. We
series.
still got
Yep.
to do.
There's a lot to do in Quest Me, and I think it would just be fun to also have an episode every other week. Obviously, with shows we'll do every week, but then moving forward, like I'd like to do Star Wars rumors and things of that nature. You know, maybe
Ooh.
go back and rewatch
Little-
some movies and
Little
just dissect
15-minute
them and stuff.
snaps, or
Sir, I'm afraid you've gone mad with power.
I have, yes,
unlimited power.
yes.
Perhaps I could suggest a rewatch of Rebels.
Rebels or
I'm-
the first season of Mandalorian is what I'm looking at right now. Rebels might be a little bit more predominant because of Thrawn, but it would be kind of like we're gonna watch half the season for one episode, half the season for another episode, and do that for 4 seasons. You
I
know
did.
what
I did
mean?
get through all 4 seasons in a weekend. It is something that you can
It's
just
pretty-
burn through.
In a
It's pretty
weekend?
quick, yeah.
I had it was my first weekend where I had nothing to do. So
My hat is off to you, sir.
I slept through a good chunk of them, but it's Rebels. I've seen it 4 times. You can
Yeah,
watch
you
it
wake
in
up
my
and
sleep.
know where you are.
Exactly. There was
It
no
is-
no confusion.
It is about time for my annual Rebels watch, so maybe that's where we'll go. But tonight we're talking about the
Mandalorian.
and more specifically Chapter 21 of The Mandalorian. I did mention it at the beginning of the show. I didn't have any corrections from last week. The only one I had was that I accidentally called Phil a guest and not a permanent co-host. So again,
Co-host Phil.
apologies for that one, Phil. I felt
In
kind of a
certain
dick.
older civilized cultures, men who failed as entirely as you have would throw themselves on their sword.
I probably should, man. Like, I'll see you guys later.
Do you have one handy? If not,
No, he doesn't have his lightsaber, so he can't do it.
Commit harakiri.
I don't. But anyway, I think it's time to start this guy off. And we're gonna do the synopsis, which I wrote. Yeah. Chapter 21, The Pirate. Ahoy, matey. This week we see the aftermath of the brief pirate conflict from the beginning of Season 7. High Magistrate Karga be forced to send out a distress call to the New Republic, but due to the afterlogger requests, Captain Teva be required to seek help from outside sources. That's right. I wrote that synopsis and then put it into Pirate Translator online.
You're so damn ridiculous. I can't believe you did that.
I can't.
Great
That
commitment, though.
absolutely
Great
tracks.
Totally can.
That absolutely tracks.
This episode was directed by Peter Ramsey. He did Into the Spider-Verse and Rise of the Guardians. It was written by Jon Favreau. It stars Pedro Pascal, Katie Sackhoff, Carl Weathers, and it guest stars Katie M. O'Brien, Paul Sun-Hyung Lee, Tim Meadows,
Bow, 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 bow.
Nonzo Anazi, who is the voice of Gorian Shard. And he was in Cinderella, Conan the Barbarian, and The Last Legion.
And Game of
then
Thrones.
We also have appearances by Dave Filoni, Deborah Chow, Rick. Oh my gosh, I can never pronounce his last name. Rick Famuyiwa.
Some of you,
Famuyiwa. Okay. The directors. I mean, obviously Dave Filoni is part of this. He's a big creator. But then Deborah Chow and Rick are directors.
I want to be a director who just hangs out at a bar and gets paid to film things as well.
I know, right?
Especially a space bar. I mean,
That's the life right there.
No shit.
I got something to say about that scene later, but I'll wait.
Oh, and that's the other appearance we have.
Did you forget a cameo?
No,
No. They don't
I
ruin
did
my
not.
segment.
I did not forget.
Do
any
not
sort of
ruin my
cameo.
segment.
Don't worry.
No.
No, we'll get to that one.
We will.
We'll
but
get to
first,
that one.
I have a few things to say about this episode. I like to go on tangents, as you guys know. And listen, this episode is what Star Wars is all about. Like, we have an actual conflict on a star that needs an actual war. Okay? Not that I think this is a war so much as it's like the battle to start the war. but I've said it numerous times, and I'm going to keep saying it. This is the sequel we deserve.
Well, we can roll credits now. This has been Quest Me. I'm Steve. He said Star Wars, so.
Look, I know a lot of people haven't really enjoyed this season. It's been a little lackluster for some people, but this episode in particular, there's people out there that have like the ratings have dropped, the viewership has dropped for this season.
That is
like
true.
there's a
That
lot of
is
stuff
true.
that's been going on. So
We don't need that kind of negativity in our lives.
No, and I think this episode is really going to quiet the haters and create some more interest. This episode had cameos, it had nostalgia, it had intense battles both on land and in the air, it had emotion, jump out of your seat choreography, and finally, it had heart. To me, this was the perfect episode of Mandalorian and Star Wars. Call me a homer, but I've watched this episode 6 times, and I still giggle every time I watch it. So that's my tangent, all right? I want to give all you guys the same opportunity to kind of go on a tangent about this episode if you want to. So, Steve, lay it on me. Do you agree that this was perfect, or is this show lacking a little bit?
No, I'm definitely enjoying myself. I was kidding earlier when I said this is the Rangers of the New Republic. I just realized that they have a lot of material. Yeah, they have a lot of material they wrote, obviously. And it's like, well, how do we use this? They probably even shot some. I doubt they used exact footage, but they're putting it in for us to see what they wrote instead of creating a new show that people might not be interested in. I believe they're working a backdoor pilot angle. Is definitely what I'm picking up. Especially that wasn't the episode before. It was the convert had the entire section was devoted to Coruscant life, and which we are owed because, or which sorry, not we are owed, which Mandalorian owes because he took time out of someone else's show. So he gets
everybody's paying it forward.
Everyone is entitled to have a piece of his show now.
You think Mando's going to take a piece of Ahsoka, too? He's going to be like, no, this is my show, too, Ahsoka.
I don't see why not. I mean,
oh, yeah.
Of course. They know each other, so why not have him drop in? I mean, especially since Sabine was once the holder of the Darksaber, and be like, hey, by the way, I know who's got that. Oh, really?
Yeah. Justin, what were your thoughts on this episode?
Oh, I mean, you got really sappy there. Like, you put a lot of emotion into that little monologue. How do I follow that up? I mean, I can't say perfect because I haven't seen the perfect episode, but goddamn, this was near that. Oh, it was so close. Like, starting scene, it got action, it got humor, it's got good music. The choreography didn't look hokey. Like, everything, like the scene, the angles of the shots, like, it was all wonderful. Dogfights, hand-to-hand combat, great. And you're right. It just had great plot points behind it. But overall, like, it was like you said, a Star Wars episode.
Yeah. Phil, do you agree? Are you on the same page? Do you have any qualms?
No, I mean, I'm pretty much there too. I mean, we got a nice blend of action and plot development. We got some fun cameos, some fun new characters. We got solid action sequences. And well balanced. No, nicely plotted, nicely paced.
Yeah,
Pretty spectacular.
Sure. Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page because I'd feel really dumb if I spent all that time writing out that monologue and then you guys were like, "No, this episode sucks. Fuck you."
It's over action, man. What are you talking about?
So
has
I'm
no
glad
plot.
we're on the same page. But speaking of cameos, I mean, let's just go right into that scene. Zeb is here, folks.
Steve Bloom.
I'm so happy.
Is here, and he's on a sweet planet, no less. Before we get into too much, I mean, the music when you get into that planet was awesome. The scenery that you see when it's panning
No.
in the ocean.
About
to
the music, man. About the music. That entry song sounded eerily like David Essex "Rock On."
So the captions
psychedelic
in the notes
rock
just
playing,
label it as psychedelic rock. I was like, No, that
Love it.
tracks.
I
That
honestly
tracks.
thought it
Makes
was gonna.
sense.
I honestly thought I was hearing "Lunatic Fringe" by Red Rider for a hot second,
Oh.
and I was like,
Oh.
"No!" And then of course it's like they're not gonna actually put a rock song into Star Wars. They haven't done it yet,
But
but
don't
I wouldn't be
think they
opposed to
will.
that.
I think
No,
that's our closest what's Twilight rock song or something.
Mhm.
Well, we had the song in Andor too, when they went to that beach planet. That was really good.
That was an awesome one too.
So, but yeah, the music in this was just phenomenal. Even like the intro credits, when it has the pirate kind of theme.
I
It still has the
was
Mando
gonna
theme,
wonder if
but it
someone was
has
gonna
those,
bump
like-
on that. Yeah,
Yep, Gorian.
It had the,
theme.
it
Yeah,
definitely had that.
yeah.
What do you call it? Heavy mahogany instead of heavy metal.
Yes.
The pirate
Yeah.
Yes.
pirate rock.
Just very nice. Very
Oh.
nice.
Jesse
Hey,
says,
and
Question
thank you,
is extra
thank you.
gorgeous tonight. You know why? It's because I have good internet again. Woo!
hang on. I have to help Jesse out. Sorry. Sorry
hang
to
on, hang on.
Jesse
Here
needs
we
to see
go.
how gorgeous it really is tonight.
Yeah.
Some really good lighting tonight.
Steve, to branch out a little bit here, Steve and Jesse actually got to meet in real life.
It
at
was
the
fantastic.
convention recently.
Ooh.
Not only meat, we got hammered,
Yeah, getting hammered with Jesse is a good time.
and then and we
I'll send you a
sang
picture one day of one of my birthday parties. It's hilarious.
and we karaoke'd the Enterprise theme song as you should.
As one
Oh,
does.
man.
Oh, I love it.
I've
I'm
got
kinda-
faith.
I'm kinda
Wow.
sad I wasn't there. That's
Even
wonderful.
better, one of the options was Tank from Cowboy Bebop, and it is literally just the first few lines, and then the rest of the screen
Okay.
says
3,
rest of
2,
song,
1, let's jam.
and then we just hung out
And
for
just-
2 minutes.
You just got to start dancing at that point.
That's exactly what we did.
Oh, that's so awesome. Thanks, Jesse, for popping in. It's good to see you. We were just talking about the planet that the Adelphi base is located on. We started with the music. It's freaking wonderful. Again, the scenery as it's panning up from the ocean, and you're seeing the Y-wing like landing and the X-wing taking off.
And I loved
It's awesome.
little tiny detail, but I love that you see one of the Y-wings sitting there with some of the engine cowling and the vanes pulled off of it, so you can see them working on that port side engine.
As you
On
would
that
do
Y-wing.
at an airbase.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it's just a great little detail.
Yeah. And
Did
then-
anyone else see that opening and go, and then of course inside the bar and go, where is my Star Wars version of McHale's Navy? I need
I
it.
did not do that.
That could be absolutely spectacular.
I went to fucking Top Gun.
Fair enough.
This is the jacket. Like Tiva's jacket
I-
had all the patches and whatnot on it. And I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
So
Is it
great
too much to ask for
detail.
both?
No, great detail there. Paul Sun Hyung Lee got to actually work with the costume designer and actually
make
like
his own jacket.
hand designed some of those patches on his jacket.
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah, super.
Shout out
cool.
to Shauna
The
T.
patch was cool.
Can't pronounce her name.
yeah, no, but she's an amazing costume designer. Her work on that jacket alone is stellar.
Phil, can you pronounce her name? Because I'll butcher it.
Hang on a second.
I'm
as
glad
we're
we all
talking about-
recognize the detail then.
As we're
Yeah,
talking about
no.
the costumes, they did wear in the bar. You saw people wearing blue fighter pilot jumpsuits, which had been decommissioned after the Rogue Squadron in Rogue One,
Because they're all dead.
because they were all dead. So it's very interesting to see those being brought back, and it's especially interesting to see Garazeb Aurelios wearing one.
Boom.
Which leads me to believe that he might have been there at that battle because we know that General. Oh my gosh!
Syndulla was there.
Thank you. Couldn't do it.
Well, yeah,
The
we
ghost-
see the ghost.
Yeah.
The ghost is there.
Oh,
for
yeah.
sure.
So he could easily have been part of that battle. We just didn't get to see him. So he
Yeah.
might have been. He might be a surviving member of Blue Squadron.
It's very possible.
It's interesting. I don't really remember Zeb as a pilot. That seemed like a pilot part of me.
I mean, I think he flew. He can fly.
He
Well,
can.
they all
fly.
can
He was
fly.
More, he was more of a brute than anything, you know.
Yeah, he was like
I'm
a
sure.
gunner from what I recall.
Well,
would
he's also
assume-
he's the original artistic design for a Wookiee.
Yes.
No
Based
way.
on-
Yeah.
no,
Yes.
his species is
Thanks
based on
for
the
bringing that up.
original concept art that Ralph McQuarrie did for Chewbacca.
I love that so much.
And so it was just it just couldn't be done properly
It's
in
deep
'77.
cuts.
So it was easier to do like a giant Bigfoot.
Yeah.
And of course, Bigfoot was popular in '77, like a lot more Like there was a
Man.
bigger following.
I love the full body shot of Zeb in the
Yeah.
bar when they zoom
Just
out.
seeing him
his
walk by.
visuals, like his CGI was phenomenal, dude. Like when he's sitting there talking to Teva, and his like temple caves in a little bit as he's thinking about stuff. Like the CGI on that was nuts. The way his lips curl and stuff when he's thinking about what he's gonna say, like they spared no expense with that scene.
Makes me wonder how they got that so well done, and then the Grand Inquisitor just looked like hot garbage. Sorry to say it. But
Just different focus.
You gotta understand,
Different focus.
Mandalorian's where the money's at.
I guess so.
Andor, they were like, yeah, here's some.
Oh no, that was Kenobi.
That was
Oh yeah,
Kenobi.
sorry, Kenobi.
Yeah.
Same thing though. They're like, here's some
No,
money. Make
I was
something, I
not.
guess.
I was not that bothered by the depiction for the Inquisitor, but
I just didn't think it was the same character. Because especially when he got stabbed, it's like, oh, okay, that's why we're gonna have a new High Inquisitor. And then when he was alive at the end, I'm like, oh, it's the same guy. Okay.
I think he looks more realistic, because he's supposed to be a temple guardian. So his head has to fit the mask.
That's fair. I just when I saw it, I personally didn't care for it. And
But they
I
made cone
get it,
heads in the '90s. It's possible to do it. Like that's.
Are you saying you want him to be a cone head?
He should have been. He was a cone head. Was he not? Do I need to bring up a picture of the
Not like the movie that I'm thinking of.
No, he was not a
Oh,
Saturday
no,
Night
he was not
Live
an
character
exaggerated
they had.
cone head, but he was a cone head. And we can say that because he was also a jerk and deserves to be called a cone head.
He turned into a good guy
He's
at
not
the
a
end for Ezra.
bum. He's a jerk.
that was a vision, though.
No, it wasn't Ezra. It was
Kanan.
Kanan, yeah. Thank you.
All right, well.
He
From a
didn't turn into
certain
a good
point of
guy.
view, I
There was
guess.
a spirit there.
Yeah.
Anyway, but yes,
so-
I do agree that the CGI for Garrett Zeb was phenomenal, and if they can keep that budget up for the Ahsoka series, I'm here, man.
Yeah,
I think that this is bringing in like this show is setting up everything. Like this is going to be, the Mandoverse
this
is
is
the
their-
equivalent to the Arrowverse.
This
you
is
know,
their
it's-
hub. This is their hub series. Everything else is
Exactly.
branching off from here now.
And
But
so
they gotta
as
have.
long as-
They need to put some money into Ahsoka. Because
They will.
Thrawn is coming. Hashtag.
Thank you for that. And they will. They absolutely will. Because I think I really think that the last 3 episodes of this season are gonna just pop off. They're gonna be nuts.
Like
And-
setups to the other.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it's gonna be just like Avengers, the first Avengers.
Ooh.
We had all the fun little movies that came out before Avengers, and then Avengers comes out, and you see freaking Thanos, and you're like, oh shit. I think at the end of this, we're gonna see Thrawn, and people are gonna be like, oh shit. Dang,
Which at that time, that
Thrawn.
was an accident. Joss Whedon just thought he was a cool character to throw in at the end. There was no pathway at the time.
Right, which
Now we have a pathway, so I think it'll turn out a little better. They're following the right moves, and then
yes, they hired Jon Favreau for a reason, and that reason is to create a bigger universe, to again give us the sequels that we deserve. Anyway, moving on. On a scale of 1 to 10, how excited were you to see Zeb make his jump to live action? Let's start with Steve.
so my wife was actually in the other room, and she heard me gasp. She had no idea why, but she asked me about it later, and so apparently I had an audible gasp. I did read a spoiler about there was just my brother said that cameo though, and I said, hey, shh, haven't seen it yet, so I wasn't expecting that. What was I expecting? I forgot, because this one just floored me, and so that now we're down. Are we at 2 of my Rebels cameos? I guess if you count Bo-Katan
Ahsoka.
from Ahsoka and Zeb of the Ghost crew, and so we're just ticking away at those. And I honestly think at some point, either in this show, probably not this show, probably in Ahsoka, we will get a live action Kanan Jarrus.
Like a flashback?
Yeah.
Either a flashback or even somehow if Ezra in the far reaches of space has figured out how to communicate with Force
sure.
Ghost Kanan Jarrus, because who knows what he learned in his
Yeah,
in his
that's
time.
True.
I will only accept that if it is Freddie
Freddie
Prinze
Prinze Jr.
It has to be.
I agree.
that
Prinze
would
Cannon.
be. I mean, we know he can do it. We know
If they can get Liam Neeson back, they can get Freddie
we
Prinze
know
Jr.
he can make the leap from animation to live action. We know he can handle that. I mean,
Absolutely.
Scooby Doo, man.
Scooby-Doo, the first one was amazing.
So on a scale of 1
he's-
to 10, how excited were you, Steve? 10?
That's
Phil,
a
what
10.
about you?
I'll give it a 10.
Definitely a 10 because he was not the Rebels character I was expecting to show up first of the rest. I figured maybe Hera or someone else of a species we've already seen in live action before.
Sure.
You know, did not expect them to just drop Zeb in, just like, whoop, hi.
I
So
thought it would be Sabine, honestly. I thought Sabine was going to be the Mandalorian
more
connection.
sense.
Yeah.
That would make more
I think
sense.
I think that's still a little too soon. I do think she'll show up before the end of the season.
Well, if Bo-Katan is going off to go unite clans, that's the first stop you make.
Yeah.
Is
That's
she
why I
even cool with her clan now, or is she still running solo? I guess
We
will
don't-
find out.
We
We
will
don't know.
find out. There's
Right.
some hints at the end of this episode that say that maybe not all is right on the home front.
Well, and she had mentioned in episode 2 or 3, or it might have been 1 actually, that her whole crew had left her because she didn't obtain the Darksaber.
Now, Sabine wasn't a part of that, though. Sabine's
No, but it does mean that, she'd been functionally abandoned except for her droid,
Yeah. Who then got
who
bombarded
then got
by
the shit
bombs.
blasted
I'm sure
out of her.
he's fine.
Oh yeah, just a little bit of soldering, he'll be fine.
Hey, if you can fall off an endless pit, you can survive anything.
Exactly.
Oh my God. Justin,
In half.
on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited were you?
All right,
Zeb.
first off, I knew there was a cameo coming on. We all did, and we knew it was going to be Rebels.
None
So
of us
I-
called Zeb though.
No!
None of us said Zeb.
I was gonna be. I was saying I was gonna be more shocked than surprised, and than anything. Like I did not expect Zeb. Just what Phil was saying. I was going with Sabine. It made the most sense. Mandalorian, Darksaber carrier, yada yada. But Zeb was an awesome call, and just like you guys touched earlier, the CGI was amazing. Little details like influenced or emphasized like the details of his talking and his reaction. So it was awesome to see. And I truly hope they keep that like budgetary standard. Like Zeb up here and then the Hutts in Boba Fett down here. I hope it's Zeb level.
I would
Yeah.
agree with you. I gotta
Excuse
say
me.
now, like after seeing this and seeing how good it was, like I had mentioned before, The Mandalorian is the Star Wars version of Iron Man. Thrawn is going to be the Star Wars version of Thanos. We can forget Cara Dune now. Zeb and Teva. Zeb and Teva are going to be the Rangers of the New Republic. And you'll have, I mean, look, dude, we've seen Luke Skywalker, we've seen Ahsoka, we got more Rebels characters coming in as
Chopper
confirmed by Celebration last year. The leaked footage of the trailer for Ahsoka had Hera and Sabine showing up. So, I mean, now we have a huge cast of these beloved characters, and they're going to be able to team up Avengers style in an all-out war against Thrawn. Like, the only
News
difference...
team.
Do you think it's
Assemble.
really gonna go Avengers style?
But here's the difference, though, is the First Order is going to rise out of the ashes of the Thrawn War. Like...
Yeah, there's gonna be that
it's-
transition. I get it.
Yeah, so Thrawn is going to be like... I would assume that the very last thing that Thrawn says is execute the First Order, and then that's where
Execute
things go south. You
I
know what I
also
mean?
have a bet on that because he's been, like, thanks to his abduction by the Purgles. Spoiler alert! If you haven't watched Rebels, go watch Rebels. If you haven't watched Rebels,
Jeez, come on.
Hashtag watch Rebels.
yourself a
you've seen the Purgles already this season. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you will, and you'll go
Space whales.
Space whales. So Thrawn has been to those far reaches of space, which could include that planet that I don't really care about because the sequels were a bit of a mess.
Which one are we
But-
talking about? Oh, Exegol.
Exegol, yeah. Thank you.
Whatever.
But that even
Roasted.
if Thrawn does not survive the end of your Avengers storyline, his last order could be all these
The
Star
First
Destroyers,
Order.
all the Star Destroyers that are sitting on Coruscant that eventually end up out there. He's the one that pulls off the heist that
To
gets
send
them
them all out there.
to go be frozen
know-
in the ice, then make them functional somehow in
And-
30 years.
And that would be an amazing katana fleet. Just throwing that out there. I
Oh
mean,
God, I hope. Can we see that in live action, please? I want to see.
man.
Thrawn's Star Destroyer has to be still intact. I need to see it. If not, he needs to have painted a new one. I need it in live action. I really, really do.
What's the Star Destroyer called?
The Chimera.
Chimera. Thank
Yeah.
you.
And
Oh,
it has the dragon.
painting underneath.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Yeah, I would assume, dude. What if the last scene of this, and I'm like getting tears thinking about
Is
it.
it
The
Shadow?
last scene
Please.
is the Star
Yeah.
Destroyer coming up, and it just has the dragon painted on the bottom of it. Like, I don't even need to see Thrawn, but seeing
Yeah.
the Star Destroyer, the Chimera, would be enough
Would
for me
be-
to just piss my pants.
Everyone knows what that.
I think
Not everyone.
I think
but it
everyone.
Would be
Calling
fan
it
service
Rebel
for
Watchers.
both of
now.
us.
Yeah.
gonna call it now. If we don't see his face before the end of the season, our last shot of the season is just going to be the glowing red eyes.
Oh, I hope so.
Fair.
That- I
if
would
we
assume
if we
that's gonna
don't
be the teaser.
if we don't see him full on, we'll see that glowing red eye, those glowing red eyes.
Dude.
As the,
See, I was thinking boots. I don't know why the boots and the pants.
boots and pants.
you want him in the
and
boots and
pants.
pants and boots and pants. You want him in the full on white Grand
Yeah.
Admiral uniform.
Yep.
We're gonna see something. He
gotcha,
hasn't
I
been
gotcha.
cast yet, so we'll see something, but we
He
won't
hasn't
see
been
him.
cast that we know of yet.
Yeah.
From what I understand, the rumor is that the guy that played the voice of Thrawn is going to be Thrawn.
Yes.
was
Disney, if you're
was he a
listening,
Skarsgård? I think
yes.
he was a Skarsgård, if I'm not mistaken.
There's so many
Oh.
I could be
Skarsgård.
wrong.
He's a
I don't
Skarsgård.
think so. Phil, you look like
Huh?
you're looking something up. You look like you were looking something up.
Oh no!
I
But
checked my
hang
phone
on.
across the room when we started recording. So
Phil's our Jamie.
Yeah, Lars Mikkelsen.
Lars Mikkelsen.
Yeah.
Not Skarsgård. I was
Yeah.
close.
No, but there is still a familial connection to the Star Wars universe there, because his brother was Galen Erso.
thank you. I was
That's
like, wait,
right.
that's not
That's
who it
right.
was.
Yeah,
That's right.
no,
That's right.
no, it's
Two Mickelsons.
yeah.
Yeah.
His little brother is Mads Mikkelsen.
But anyway, I think that's as much as I want to talk about Zeb and the Rangers of the New Republic and the Thrawn thing, because we have so much more to talk about. We have an entire battle to talk about, but before that, we actually get to new quest incoming. That's right. Teva has been quested to save Navarro. His first stop, Coruscant. Justin, take us through the Coruscant scene. What did you think of the interaction between Tim Meadows, Kane, and Teva?
So first off, going through this scene, watching Teva walk down, he sort of has this pompous, arrogant, yet assertive walk to him, and then the camera cuts to boom, Saturday Night Live's Tim Meadows,
Loved
and as soon as I saw him, I'm like, oh, he's gonna be Tim Meadows, typical typecasted. And what happens? Ain't shit get done. Nothing happens. And
Hey.
you go to him
That's my workspace.
expecting the desk jockey excuses, and what do you happens? The desk jockey excuse. So to see that just happen in Star Wars, let alone, was just awesome. It was cool to see that kind of comedy come out within the universe.
Yeah, and like him looking at the droid, you stay, you get out of here. Like
I know, and then what's her name? Kane comes in.
Oh,
Oh,
actually, I wanted to ask Steve, what are your thoughts on Kane? Do you think she's actually reformed, or is she some sort of spy?
What do I think? Wrestling is real? Jesus.
I gotta ask.
and porn is all real too, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, I didn't know that. No, she is 100% either working her own angle or she is working directly for Grand Moff Gideon or directly for Thrawn. She is not reformed.
Would we consider her the Delta Source?
We still can't spoil that one for Justin. We still
Nope.
got one more book to go before
Dude,
he figures
I
out
haven't
who
started
Delta
it,
Source
guys.
is.
I had to go back and like read that and see what the Delta Source actually was. What like who it was.
No, don't,
I'm
nothing,
not
nothing.
spoiling anything.
I'm so into the series.
But
Like,
once
nope,
I figured
nope.
it out, I was like, oh yeah, that's right. Oh my god, that's
It's
hilarious.
amazing. No, it's amazing. It's one of the best reveals in that entire series.
Yeah.
So
Um,
we're still.
I don't know this either, so thank you for not
But-
spoiling.
Yeah, no,
but we
we're-
can
we're-
actually
we'll keep it
predict
low-key.
that Delta Source is someone that is giving Thrawn a ton of information from the New Republic. They're feeding Thrawn and the Empire information about what Leia
From
and those guys
inside
do, from
the
inside.
Imperial
Oh, you mean
Palace.
Leia's
Yeah.
attendant?
Do not disparage Winter.
Yeah, dude.
I
Just
hate her.
just wait
I
till
don't
you
like
read
her.
it.
I know it's
Just
her.
Wait. But I'm really thinking like this whole season. I'm like, who's Delta Source? Because there's gonna be someone that's working inside the
I
New Republic
have-
that is feeding Thrawn information. And
Well, it's
I've
not
got
Dr.
a
Pershing.
I've got a
Kane.
major spoiler for Justin. When we finish talking about Last Command, I've got something for you about Winter.
yeah,
Yeah.
All right,
yeah.
all right.
Yeah.
But we have to finish Last Command
But
first.
yeah, no, we gotta finish Mandalorian first, and then we'll get on to Last Command.
Is this an audio? Is this available in audiobook?
It is.
I
Absolutely.
will happily
Yeah.
download that and join the
It is
conversation.
it is the third of Timothy Zahn's original Thrawn trilogy.
Sold.
Yeah, you can actually find it online and on YouTube for free, like little chapters and stuff.
Oh, I have so many Audible credits from college. Like
Oh.
I'm just trying to burn through them.
Yeah,
Good
no.
then.
I've listened to so many Star Trek episodes.
Heir to the Empire, Dark Force Rising, and The Last Command.
Yep.
Yeah, no, we'll get you. that.
Noted.
Don't
Yeah,
worry.
yeah, we'll get it for you. But yeah, I also think Kane is working some sort of angle. I have no idea what it is. But speaking of spies, Phil, did you happen to read the book From a Certain Point of View?
Oh yes.
So
yes. They actually
did-
just announced the third one's coming out later this year.
for Jedi,
Yeah.
good.
So
What did you think about the little R5 callback?
I thought it was spectacular. For those of you who have not read From a Certain Point of View, there is a story in it that explains the whole sequence on the Sandcrawler from the perspective of R5D4 and his meeting of R2D2. And there's this whole bit in there where it's basically revealed that R5D4 has been working for the rebellion in the past, and now he's just ended up junked on Tatooine. And he deliberately blows his motivator in order to make sure that R2 gets to go
With Luke.
3PO with Luke.
Yeah.
Is this the book with the flea that goes on Luke?
No, that one is the Tales of Luke Skywalker.
From a Certain Point of View is a short story anthology that covers the events
New
of
Hope.
A New Hope from the perspective of all of these different characters who are
Yes.
mostly in the background. It's like, oh, I was the tractor beam operator on the on the Star Destroyer.
Ridiculous.
You know,
Yeah,
it-
so
it's-
Justin,
We gotta have
Justin-
put that in the notes, man.
No,
Put that- I
it's-
want that one.
it is absolutely spectacular. They've done one for New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, and the
Yep.
one for Jedi comes out later this year.
Yeah, so Justin, the book you're talking about is, I believe it's called Tales of Luke Skywalker, and that does reference a bug on the back of the Rancor when Luke fights the Rancor. It's just different. It's stories about Luke Skywalker and different accounts of him. So the ones that you're talking
it's
about from a
Greek
certain point of view-
mythology.
from a certain point of view is a little bit better because it's with actual characters.
I'm sorry, that was too much.
No, I fully expect.
Steve's
though,
dead.
I fully expect that in the Jedi anthology, we probably will get a story from the perspective of the Rancor Keeper.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He was
Hey,
too
Steve,
sad. Yes.
Steve, now that you know
Oh,
about from
heartbreak.
a certain point of view and R5 and his story, do you find this scene with Teva coming up going, I had a spy working with me the whole time, was that cheesy or nah?
Well, I thought it would be that it obviously they deep faked or not deep faked they faked you out and thought that he was tracking the gauntlet, and then for it to be the droid that we've seen since the first time we saw Star Wars, I'm like, okay, I get it.
I loved the fake out with Paz
Yeah.
when
They look at him. and
Tava's
he's
like,
"What?"
it's somebody I used to serve in the rebellion with. And Mando, first thing he does is look over his shoulder and look at Paz.
And Paz is like, what? It's not me. Yeah, I love that too. Speaking, I mean, on the lines of Paz.
Hold on. Let's circle back to that.
Yeah,
I think
go for it.
We'll get there. We'll
I
get to Paz.
personally, I personally think that Star Wars is doing too much of the pulling back from previous movies and just clipping it in like that. It's
What-
been
go on.
happening a lot.
Go on.
Where I feel like it's a fanboy service almost, where they're
cool.
just pulling something, and it's just happening too often. That's what I personally think.
Would you consider a cameo of Zeb fanboy service?
No, because that's actually
It's building.
important to the plot. Yeah, but
Wait,
to
is
pull
it
R5, like to pull R5 and the chopping droid, like those things are just like reaching out a little bit.
There is
It does make
ton
you
of
think,
fan
like-
service in this.
It does make you think, how does anyone do anything?
Steve's gone. He disappeared.
Oh,
How does anyone do anything?
What happened?
Oh,
You get
he's
that
back.
preposterous
He's back.
hypothesis.
We
How
lost
does
Steve.
anyone
Did
do
Steve
anything?
Tell you that.
Yeah.
How
we
does
lost-
anyone do? How does anyone do anything without it being known?
I mean,
So
fanboys.
yeah, true. But I mean, look, and the fan service thing is rampant in this show. I mean, even the monkeys in the tree is fan service. Babu Frick and his like little species. That's
The
fan
But,
service.
and Zellans.
But R5
Yeah.
is reaching. I mean, come on.
Is
well,
it though?
but you
It's
thought it was
not-
going to be a betrayal of another Mandalorian, and then to have it just be the droid. It's like, okay, that was a nice fanboy thing. It was also cute, and we weren't expecting it. So if I was,
Yeah.
if I was expecting it,
And
Yeah.
it ties back to Pelimato's line at the beginning. What was it? Episode 2 of this season, where Mando goes to Peli to get the
Yeah.
droid. Yeah, and she jokes. She talks about him having been a hero in the rebellion. And Mando's just like, oh no, bullshit.
all right.
No,
Yeah, but
That's
I
fitting.
think this goes deeper than that, though. I think it's a little bit deeper of a cut because they're connecting that with a book.
yeah,
The fact that R5 had his own passage in a book, and they're connecting Mandalorian to that kind of media, man, they're connecting so much media to this story. And,
which
and this
which is
show,
what
like,
which is what the Legends canon had done in the past, and it's what the
Yes.
new canon is doing now.
Yes,
They are
exactly,
connecting.
Exactly. And I think
and actually,
that's
here, Justin,
brilliant.
let me not counter, but let me let's riff on this. The sequel trilogy feels so disconnected from everything that I don't mind a fanboy service when they're actually trying to do right by the fans once again, because the sequel trilogy did have a lot of, hey, we're making this for the money.
Yeah.
And that is what I felt when the first time I saw every movie. I was still, a 12-year-old
agree.
kid again. But watching it again and again, it's like, oh my god, actually, this is kind of.
I can't watch Rise of
kinda bad.
Skywalker anymore.
Oh,
watched it
try it
1.5
on-
times.
Try it on mute. Not bad. The whole sequel trilogy. Try it on mute. Visually stunning. You can make up your own words, and it actually fits. And then just look away for some parts.
I like this the riff tracks approach. Let's
Yeah, that's
just
pretty good.
Do
Sold.
our own dialogue.
So you're saying
But-
the script sucks?
There's a lot.
Saying a lot that sucks. But we're not going to talk about that. We're going to continue talking about
Mandalorian.
21 the pirate.
But do you, when it comes to the Mandalorian, do you feel that they are disconnected, or do you feel like we're actually getting Star Wars stories?
No, they're not disconnected whatsoever.
There you
and I
have it.
absolutely agree with you that the sequel trilogies felt disconnected, even though they were mimicking them in a lot of ways. But no, it's just I don't know. It just feels a little overwhelming. Maybe I feel overwhelmed by all the material thrown at me.
But they're a week apart, and so every week we get a new little thing.
That's why we podcast about it, man. So we can break it down.
Why we do what we do.
Yeah,
Man,
I just
come
have to
on,
watch
dude.
the episode 6-7 times.
But that's okay, because it's good. You're getting your money's worth of that $20 a month that Disney charges.
20.
Well, Disney, Hulu, and ESPN is like 20.
He does the
okay.
package
Yeah.
with no commercials and HBO.
What on HBO is worth watching? Name 5.
Last of
What?
Us,
Okay, it's 1.
Game of Thrones,
It's no,
Sopranos, The Wire.
new content.
Oh,
Peacemaker.
Peacemaker. Yeah, no, like I just actually
Titans.
binged.
Legion.
I just
Dungeon
binged through
of
the
Doom.
first 4 episodes of Peacemaker on Friday
I'm
night.
still at 1 here.
Doom
so
Patrol.
Have you watched
Dude.
Peacemaker, Steve?
I have not, so that's why
Then
I
get off
can't
your
I can't
fucking horse and go watch some Peacemaker.
I can't give it to you because I haven't seen it.
We're giving you a lot of suggestions.
Oh, Ricky D.
I saw Watchmen on Hulu.
Watchmen.
Ooh,
Oh
Watchmen,
yeah.
Yeah.
No, but
South Park.
HBO's got some
I
good stuff, South Park, yeah.
honestly, Steve, I save most of these until they come out on DVD, and then I get them from the library.
Oh, our resident librarian. That's so
Yes, hi.
I paid
Another
for
trick
I-
from
I-
the
I had a-
library.
I had a free trial from HBO Max, and I watched The Suicide Squad, and I watched Godzilla vs Kong, and then I watched nothing else.
Wasn't
no,
Godzilla versus Kong good though?
I did enjoy it, but they had no reason to keep me on the board. And then, and of course, there's Ricky chiming in to disagree with me. Good to see you, pal.
Ricky watches HBO every single night.
But Ricky didn't like Highlander, so his opinion is null and void.
Oh,
What?
Oh, I got backup all of a sudden, bud. What up?
There can only be one.
there can be
Or
only
7,
Oh,
but technically
shit.
1.
Wow. Well, let's just leave that be and go on from this R5
Ricky, we
connection.
will pick
My
this
favorite
up in like
McLeod
2 weeks, man.
No, a week. It's next Sunday.
That's right. That's right. Ricky's that's shit.
Let's talk some
Don't-
shit.
Don't worry, friend. I'll be here in the chat to disagree with you.
He says, I didn't like Highlander because it was effing stupid.
I still think
Wow.
Craig Ferguson had the best note ever on Highlander.
Okay.
So Craig Ferguson, Scottish comedian, talking about how when he was a kid, he went to the movie theater to see this, this movie starring Sean Connery, legendary Scottish actor, and it's about this immortal Scottish warrior. And in the words of Craig Ferguson, he plays a bloody Spaniard.
Oh my God.
And the Scotsman, of course, is played by a Frenchman, so it is a wild ride. All of this can be found over on where you ever listen to podcasts on Sudden But Inevitable, season 2.5,
It was 2.5. Yeah. Yeah. It
where
was-
you can
it
hear
was
Ricky and I
season-
disagree with each other all night
was-
long.
It was the
Oh,
season
yeah.
where
Just put it on loop.
it was the season where Josh goes through a midlife crisis.
So Mandalorian though, we get
Yeah.
Mandalorian's
like-
like Highlander.
we get a nice middle chunk of this episode just devoted to the battle for Navarro.
To a dogfight. Yeah, I do
And
want to
it's-
touch on the sweet fight speech that we have
Yeah.
before.
We will get to that, I believe.
That's a
in,
segment,
one of the
sir.
segments.
It is segments, but we have it, and we have the whole setup for this battle.
And it is
Um,
spectacular.
did
The
you-
arguments for
Well done.
the arguments in favor of the Mandalorians going to defend Navarro, to defend this world where they used to live, where they used to literally live in the sewer, as is noted, where they used
This
to
is
live
the
in
way.
the sewer. no, we actually have a chance to go do something good.
Yeah.
So
I have to be the first to admit that I completely forgot about that until they said it. And so to hear it, I was like, oh, that's right. That was Navarro.
Yeah.
I remembered the big fight, of course, but I was like, they were all there already. This was their second home. So it brought it home to me.
Navarro's kind of the Tatooine of the Mandalorian.
And
I
thank God it's
really
want
not.
to go
is.
back to Jakku.
Thank God it's not Tatooine.
Yeah, right?
I mean,
oh my god,
Man,
dude.
they
everyone
can't,
We
was
have a
they
so
can't
new
get over to
Tatooine.
Tunisia. They can't. They can't do Tunisia on a Mando budget.
Oh
By the
my
way, they've been
God.
showing maps of the various rims on YouTube channels that I watch,
Yeah.
and Jakku is like really close to Coruscant. So I really don't get what the sequels were talking about when it was like nowhere. I'm like, it's right there. It's closer than most of the other planets to
It's
Coruscant.
it's still a desert wasteland, regardless of its proximity.
I'm
to
just curious as to why they chose to put it there.
I'm just curious. Nope, we're gonna go on.
So about the speech, I just want to touch. Like, do you
Yeah.
feel like Paz was delivering it from a "let's pay it forward" type of view, or was he like coming from the heart and was more aligned with, "Hey, we are seeing an injustice, and we are this people or group that doesn't stand for it."
I think it was Paz is repaying Mando. He's like,
Mhm.
okay,
Oh,
look, Mando wants
really?
to go
Only
do this.
repayment?
Mm-mm.
No. I think that the main motivation is to have their own place, but the deciding factor was the fact that Mando
didn't-
saved his son.
If-
And
if
he's
They
like,
didn't know they were getting their own place yet, though.
No,
Yeah, he
but
did.
if
He said that. He said that
events, if
Mando
the
said that in
events
the
of the
speech
previous,
beforehand.
if the events of the previous episode had not taken place, if Paz's son had not been the one who was rescued by Bo and Din, then I don't think he would have come to their defense in this.
No, but Mando does mention that they were offered land in that
No,
speech.
he mentions that he personally was offered land.
Of course, but I mean, you would assume that, I've been offered, so we can probably make a deal if we go save these people. You know what I
I
mean?
think
can
it's more the former of the
Yeah.
the first episode was definitely a change in Paz's stance,
Yeah.
which is a great stance, by the way, when he has his heavy gun.
Oh my god.
Yeah,
Oh.
we'll get to that too.
I love that heavy gun.
So they
Clutch
do
check.
a pretty quick montage of training.
Oh, sorry. Before you get to that,
yeah.
you guys constantly talk about how you're not sure if Pedro and Katie
when they're actually in the suits.
Oh,
when
yeah.
when Paz changes his tune and they have that reaction. Now, I'm not saying that stuntmen can't act, but that I definitely think that they were there in that scene because you can't see their face.
Yeah.
But they have the body language, and to me there is definitely, Pedro Pascal has to go and work, and so he's definitely doing a lot of the shooting. The stuntmen have just taken, I think, a more prominent role in most of the shooting.
Yep.
I really hope they do a behind the scenes of season 3,
That'd be great.
and they give
So
us
we can
clarity
see
on
how
that.
much
I don't-
Pedro's actually in the suit.
Yeah, I don't care like if he is 90% of the time or if he's there 0% of the time. I just want to know because those
And
stunt actors
honestly,
are
even if he's
really good
if
actors.
he's only doing the voice, even if he were only doing the voice the entire time, he's still killing it.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
Absolutely.
I'm only concerned because in the first season he was there the whole time, aside from
Yeah.
one episode where he had to do reshoot. So it's like, what
Yeah.
changed?
Yeah.
And it's like,
Pedro
The
got
Last
huge.
of Us.
Yeah.
he
The
got
Last
more
of Us
popular, of
and-
course.
And that
So.
movie with Nicolas Cage. I mean, there's-
Holy shit! If you have not seen the unbearable weight of massive talent,
I need
like
to see it.
outside, like if you
I
haven't
need to
seen
see
it
it.
beyond like the memes, you need to watch it because
It's
it is-
hideous.
It's
I'll give you $20,000
spectacular. It is like
That's
it's
a good voice.
The performance of Nicolas Cage's career.
And it's him playing himself, which is the best part.
It's
Phil's
him
dying.
playing. It's him playing a deliberately fictionalized version of himself.
Is it like that
Okay.
Michael
Oh my
Keaton
God, dude.
movie where
It is a little bit like Birdman.
Thank you. Yeah,
It is.
Birdman.
It is a little bit like Birdman.
Combine
But,
that
I
with
mean-
the not the Daily Show, the Weekend Update with
Yeah,
Nicolas
yeah,
Cage. Yeah,
with
Nicolas
Nicolas
Cage.
Yeah. I mean,
That's so
so
awesome. Oh, I love it.
there's even a bit where he plays like a de-aged version of himself that he is seeing in his head,
No way.
who refers to himself as Nicky Cage. And
Dude,
it's spectacular.
I should have bought it. I saw it at the mall the other day, and
Just-
bought it. That's right. I went to the
just
mall.
give it a chance.
But I should have bought it when I was.
Give
there.
it a chance. It's an
I will.
absolute It's an
I need to
absolute
see it. I've
blast.
been wanting to see it since it
The
came out.
the
Since it was
acid trip
announced.
sequence is also absolutely worth it.
I've
I mean,
seen
that-
parts of that sequence.
Is
and
that
that's
the
what
car?
That's the
That's-
car
yeah,
ride
that's what I
where
mean,
they're
Coach
just like
John.
looking at each other. Yeah.
Quest Me season 5.5.
Oh my God.
What season? I don't even know what season you guys are technically on. There's so
This
many
is
shows.
Quest Me's
Technically
seventh
seven.
season, believe it or not.
But
Say it again.
7.
Seven. Okay, so
Yeah.
season 7.5. We all
It's-
watch The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent.
I
On
I
acid?
have this idea
Twist my arm.
after. Oh geez. I have this idea.
And we're booting Steve. Good night.
After we're done with this season, because like I said, I want to continue Quest Me for forever, right? Like whatever, permanently. So I think I'm gonna call anything after season 7 the final season,
That way you're never wrong.
and then I never have to like switch episode names or anything. It's just the final season. Fuck it.
That'll
just become part of its name.
Absolutely lazy writing, but not lazy writing is the battle prep.
No, I
And
mean it's,
I wanted
it's
to-
spectacular.
It was quick, but it was good.
Yes, I mean that you see them going over like little briefings, in the middle of the hyperspace trip to Navarro. That's like, no, we're on the ship. Also, spectacular use of the of Bo-Katan's ship.
Mhm.
The
And as
gauntlet?
far as its like troop carrier potential, holy shit,
That's
beautifully
what it's
done.
made for.
Yeah,
That's like what it
No,
is
it is-
designed for. And
yeah.
get to do
But
it.
that whole sequence was just really well done. Just talking about all of the stuff that they would expect when they got to Navarro. You basically have Bo-Katan giving them a briefing mid-flight, and it's just like that's staggeringly realistic. We're on our way to the combat drop. We're getting our briefing now. Let's go.
yeah,
There was
Bait and infiltrate is the overall plan, and I loved it.
yeah.
Unrelated, mostly unrelated. I did love that whole bit at the beginning of the episode we got where Grief Karga was playing SimCity.
Wait, what?
He was building the city.
Karga's sitting there with the
Oh.
map of the city. He's just sitting there talking about where all the stuff's gonna go. It's like sitting there fucking playing SimCity, man. It was great.
I guess
We got to put the shipping depot next to the transit station.
We can't
That,
put a nuclear power plant there. That's a residential zone.
I didn't even think about it being SimCity, but that's hilarious.
I mean, the caption or the shot of him and his people walking out of the city sort of looked like Exodus from Egypt.
There was a little town called Rock Ridge.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Steve, what was your favorite aspect of the battle? Because obviously we get a nice little prep. It's a great, to me, I think that battle prep was the perfect amount. About 5 to 7 minutes of like, this is what we're doing. This is how it's going to go down. Here we go. And then all of a sudden they're like hyperspacing into Navarro and battle begins. So, Steve, what was your favorite aspect of this battle? Was it the dogfights more so, or was it the extremely tactical, almost marine-like ground assault?
I definitely appreciated that. I did think I had one moment of going, well, the Mandalorians are clearly overpowered because these pirates are stupid. But of course, if you as a bit of a history buff myself, the reason why Washington in the Revolutionary War won crossing of the Delaware is because he attacked them on Christmas morning, so that all the Haitians were hungover from celebrating, and he took them out at first light, which is what they didn't actually mention it, but it's like, okay, we're attacking them while they're drunk. Like it wasn't part of the plan, but that's what they did. And then of course, yeah.
I think they did a fantastic job of dividing Gorian Shard's attention and his limited resources, and forcing him to decide which targets he wanted to prioritize, and he fucked up.
Well, and of course, he fucked up in the beginning because your spaceship is just floating in air. So if your engines are taken out, you crash. Whereas in space, if your engines are taken out,
you float.
You float. So you're a bad pirate. You're there. You're showing the size of your dick.
He made numerous tactical errors that came back to bite him in the ass.
I mean, probably being made of plants had something to do with that.
It comes down to the plan. It was literally a bait. You bait out the snub fighters, and then here comes the gauntlet.
Drop a high value target with drop Mando in there. He's gonna go after Mando because he wants revenge, and he's blinded by it, and so he sends everyone after that.
And then the gauntlet comes in, messes up the ship, does the tactical squad drops, and then that military drop was awesome. And I love the ground warfare more than anything. Don't get me wrong, I love a good dogfight, but the ground
jetpack drops, from the gauntlet were just spectacular.
Now, I have never dropped into combat, actually, but I have fast roped out of a floating. Out of a helicopter, Osprey. But
okay, nice.
But we had
that actually tracks with your background.
That shot. I think whoever was in charge of that shot had also probably been at least either very well educated on it or had been a part of it in the past.
They did their due diligence on the research for that.
Mm-hmm. So, I love that you guys bring up how tactically inept this dude was. Because the Mandalorians just fought a guy and beat the shit out of a guy that didn't know how to actually control a war zone. And their next enemy that they're going to have
is Thrawn.
Is going to wipe the floor with them. So like this cool little battle sequence that we get to see where they take out the pirates, they take out Gorian Shard, all the snub fighters, and people are turning on the one guy turns around and leaves. He's like a coward. Like all these things get brought to light. and
I still think Vane's gonna bail out and make it back to Thrawn at some point.
Thank you, bartender.
Speaking of Vane, he sort of looks like a Who from Whoville mixed with like a Muppet.
Oh, I see. He's the lieutenant from Galaxy Quest.
Yes.
Yeah.
Holy shit, they do kind of. He does kind of look like the guy from Galaxy.
There you go.
So anyway, to further my point, like this is like a battle that they all thought might have been a little hard, and they kind of wiped the floor with the pirates, and they stomped them. Yeah. And now I think they're going to be so confident that when Thrawn actually comes to attack, they're going to get their shit rocked.
So you're saying
Bo-Katan has experience with Thrawn, though, so she might at least be able to...
Bo-Katan's not there anymore.
True, but...
Thrawn rolled tight on their planet. I don't think they're going to underestimate them. Like, you're throwing out a lot of things here, Josh. Like, you're insinuating Thrawn is going to attack them?
I am.
Like, where do you get this? Like, is this the whole ending? Are you alluding to?
No, because of what Teva said when he was talking to the New Republic, Tim Meadows, when he was talking about there's something bigger happening.
Oh.
And yes. And
the foreshadowing there.
And the pirates, the Empire had Navarro before. The pirates are trying to keep Navarro. There's a reason this is happening, and the reason being is there is a cloning facility on Navarro that nobody really knows about except us, the viewer, that watched seasons 1 and 2 of Mandalorian. So, keeping that in mind, that's a point of interest. That planet is a huge point of
Fair.
interest.
Whoa.
Fair.
You're assuming that it's a cloning facility.
No, we know it is.
Yeah.
We know it is.
No.
Yeah.
Don't go back and watch, Justin, and then come back.
They
next
left
week.
planet. They grabbed their
It
shit
doesn't
and
matter.
gone.
There's still a cloning facility there.
Mm-hmm. And Dr. Pershing was there. And
Yeah,
they have
packed some things up, but there's still an actual facility
Pershing
there.
was doing his research.
Maybe the
child was
skeleton.
there.
Wasn't there also bodies of Jedi there? That was where that was, right?
Yeah, I'm
No.
saying all that shit is gone and taken out.
Is it? We don't know that for a fact because it wasn't the New Republic that chased the Empire off.
They still grabbed their shit. I guarantee it.
But what I'm saying is, there's a possibility that cloning facility is still there, and that's why there's such a huge interest. The pirates aren't just doing things to just freaking do things. Like they are following someone just like what's his name in the Heir to the Empire trilogy? What's the pirate's name? Talon
Card?
Talon Card.
Talon Card.
He was he was a pirate and he played
Fucking
both
love him.
sides, but he was working with Thrawn. Just as much as Goran Shard could be working with Thrawn to try and take back Navarro because there's a freaking cloning facility there. All I'm saying is Thrawn could show up at some
Here's me
point
reaching.
because of that. I could be reaching, but I'm also looking at the fact that Teva actually mentioned that in the show. Said that the Empire used to rule this. Now pirates are there. This is no coincidence. So
Did he allude to some things bigger and cooler about this planet? Yes. Do I think it's necessarily the cloning center? No.
I only do because of Dr. Pershing is like that was a heavy cloning episode, and of course we know they're setting up or they're fixing the holes in the sequel trilogy, and so we have to know where the
one day
where the
clones are coming
clones
from.
came from. Yeah.
One day, Justin is just gonna be like, "Oh yeah, Josh, that makes sense."
Oh yeah, Josh, you finally got a future cast right. You got
Josh, I think your predictions are more likely to come true than that ever is. I don't know where you're reaching for that one.
That's so
it
funny.
happened a lot for me though.
I should bring up the Mythosaur argument we had a few weeks ago in the
I heard it.
Me chat.
I wish I was there for that episode.
That one was fun. But let's move on from this whole thing because there's not a lot more to talk about in this episode. It's mainly just wait a minute. After the fight, we kind of see something else. We get new quest incoming.
Two quests.
Bo-Katan gets put on a new quest.
Two.
Yeah, so wait, 2 quests? What do you mean?
You already had a new quest.
Dude,
this
that's
episode.
two this
okay,
episode.
Okay, yeah. This
Yeah.
is 2, yeah. 'Cause
Teva and
Bo-Katan
Bo.
gets put on her quest to go basically unite the Mandalorians. Justin, what did you think when the armorer pulled Bo-Katan into the original forge or the old forge and basically was like, "Take your helmet off"?
Oh
what were your
man.
thoughts there? What
I
went through your head?
At first, I was like, well, maybe this is part of the way. I don't know. Maybe the armor can only see their face when attuning their helmet or whatnot. But then, like, she started explaining more and, like, calling her out. Do you not trust me? Is this not my altar? And
Do
then
you
she
not
took her.
respect my station?
Right? Yeah, that's what it was. And then she took her helmet off and they started conversing. And I'm like, oh, well, she's not a... what was the word that they used?
Apostate.
She's not an
Apostate.
apostate.
Thank
She
you.
was ordered to do so. Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really cool to see that. And all I could think at the same time was, I'm right. She is the one to bring balance to the forge.
When
Yes.
nice. When she walked out with the armor and everyone was looking, I honestly expected the armor to also have had her helmet removed in like a solidarity move. But then, of course, it's like, okay, no, that was reaching too much because I thought this episode would be, Bo-Katan takes her helmet off first, and it's like we can all, if we're all going to follow the way, maybe we have to follow the way.
No more helmets.
Yeah, well, because in Clone Wars, no one was wearing helmets permanently.
Ooh.
Everyone on Mandalore had it off. So it's like,
Then
are
they
we going
got
to
to
keep
start
doing?
paying a whole lot of extras, a lot more to show their faces.
The only clan that I recall is Death Watch. They never took
Correct.
off their helmet.
Yeah. It would be cool to see Pedro Pascal's face a little bit more. He's got a pretty face.
He does indeed.
And now
Ricky-
seeing
He's a handsome
Ricky.
man.
You've got an excellent point, sir.
they definitely would have kissed. If Mando was on HBO, they definitely would have kissed.
Bo-Katan and the Armorer.
Oh my God.
I say this because I know
By
where
Game of Thrones rules,
brain
yes.
is going.
I mean,
Or does everything else come off but the helmet on HBO?
Ooh.
Ooh.
the helmet stays on during sex.
Well, Littlefinger
probably
narrates
does.
in the background.
This is the way.
Oh my God.
Oh, and
Well,
now
I
my
just
brain's
lost
just
all
going
of
to
my
Peacemaker.
thoughts there
So,
because
Won't
Thanks,
even be
Ricky,
from
you
like
just
here
screwed me
down.
there.
No,
We're-
actually from like here down. Because
We're touching about the final scene. Almost. We're almost to the
about,
final
well,
scene.
We're
about Bo
very
and the
near it.
armorer and how cool it would be for Pedro to be able to take his helmet off. I hope that that's kind of a thing that happens. I really hope that they not only unite Mandalore, but that they stop being so anal about their helmets.
Like so religious.
Cultish.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's,
A little,
but it
little less
is-
cultish.
It's cultish. It's very cultish. And I think Bo setting that example, I think the armorer knew what she was doing. You know, having Bo kind of set that precedent of she can take her helmet off and it's okay. We can still be Mandalorian. I think that's a huge milestone for the entire culture.
Also, if they retake Mandalore, you've got the living water is
Oh.
just there. So
then
go,
it
go
doesn't
bathe go
matter.
bathe every day.
Take
You
your
know.
helmet
Take a
off.
bath.
Yeah,
You can atone for it. Confess your sins.
right.
But also, they'll realize like, hey, if we can do that, then why do it? So
Yeah. And time will tell. We'll see what happens. I think Bo's going to run into a lot more issues gathering up Mandalorians than we think. But obviously, there's 3
Season
episodes to kinda
3.
wrap this up.
Or
Yeah,
season
there's-
4, I'm sorry.
Well, they're going to wrap this part up, I think, by the end of Season 3. I think the end of Season 3 is going to be introducing Thrawn and the bigger villain, so then they have time to do Rangers of the New Republic and Ahsoka and whatever, Book of Boba Fett Season 2, like whatever else they want to announce at Celebration this month, which is this month. They're going to announce a lot of stuff. I think this season is going to kind of give us that softball pitch to those new things, which mainly will be Thrawn. So it's going to be cool to see that. And
is Rangers still happening?
as of right now, it's postponed, I believe.
Right. So this is their attempt to like kind of backdoor pilot.
I
it.
mean, to read backdoor pilot. I mean,
Yeah. But it would be, I mean, Zeb and the other guy, what is his freaking name?
Captain
Teva.
Teva.
Tiva.
Teva. Yeah. That would be an awesome team, you know?
Is it
And
is
even
it
having,
Tiba or
like, Darth Vader-
Teva?
I think he said Teva.
I think it's Teva, yeah. But it would be a great team, and I think Zeb would be an awesome addition to that. So let's
I remember when we stole these Y-wings from a reclamation center. This is the same one.
let's talk about the final scene and then get into segments. We've been podcasting for an hour and a half already, man. We gotta start moving along here. But the final scene, something's brewing.
Something's
brewing.
up. And
Phil,
my
take us through this whole scene here, this whole little discovery that Taylor has.
so we're back. We're back to Captain Tiva, and we find a Lambda class shuttle. Oh man, I didn't get my Lego one put together in time. We see the classic Lambda class Imperial shuttle, and it's blown to pieces, and there's a massive hole in it, and it's like, oh shit, this was the shuttle that was supposed to be carrying Moff Gideon to trial. So he never made it to trial. His shuttle's destroyed, and there's no trace of his body.
And
They
cover up.
embedded in the wall on the inside of the shuttle is a chunk of Beskar. So it's a great frame up for Mandalorians being involved with Moff Gideon's escape.
Or
Justin.
or it could be the Imperial sect of Mandalore, like sort of like Gar Saxon.
Yes.
It's not uncounted for. I don't think it'll be that.
If we see Mandalorians in all white, we'll know.
Fair.
But I honestly, I feel it's there's a good chance that we've got Thrawn using a group of Mandalorians the way he used the Nogri in the Zon trilogy. He had basically an entire enslaved planet that was doing his bidding as like high-end mercenaries. And,
but why not? Why not just like the Nogri are already introduced via Rebels? Why not just bring them back?
Because
just as a counterpoint,
because
that's all.
This is the Mandalorian, not the Nogri.
And they're taking just
Fair.
little points of those books. We've pointed this out in each time we read a Zahn book. We've pointed out little different plot points that the Mandalorian is taking, and that's one of them. But they switch it up, right? They change it up a little bit. Instead of Luke Skywalker being in this,
we remix the familiar.
Tano. Yeah, instead of Luke being the Jedi, it's Ahsoka. Instead of like one of the main characters being Leia, it's Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of, they take plot points and they flip it on its side. Jesse is asking for Steve's OnlyFans. We'll put that in the show notes.
Only flannels. Only flannels. Everyone gets that mixed up.
He's a lumberjack and he's okay.
Correct.
So Justin, do you think it's actually Mandalorians? Do you think it could be the actual like Empire part of Mandalore, or do you think it's maybe Thrawn setting something up?
Most likely it's Thrawn setting something up, whether it is like throwing the Mandalorians as a cannon fodder for like a red herring, or it's possibly the other sect of the Imperial Mandalores. I personally think it's Thrawn more than anything.
I'm betting that it is something Gar Saxon-esque, but because Captain Teva has found this, it's easy enough to go back and talk to his friend Mando, and then Mando goes, there's somebody here that really wanted to kidnap and kill Moff Gideon instead of have him go to trial. So that's going to cause a rift and then lead to that red herring, kind of put Paz and Din at odds again. But then we find out, like, oh, it wasn't. He's going to deny it, of course. I'm like, but you wanted to do that, and now the New Republic's on our ass. But then it turns out to be, Gar Saxon.
Hear me out. What if it's Ahsoka and Sabine?
So Sabine was actually one of my initial thoughts.
What?
Yeah.
No.
Well, because now hold up, because
how did he get the Darksaber? Yeah.
That's an unanswered question.
Mm-hmm.
How did Moff Gideon end up with the Darksaber in the first place? But also with Bo-Katan being sent off to go reunite Mandalore and go start with picking up probably her, dear departed team. Not departed as in dead, but shuffled off. With her going back to pick up the rest of her team. Who knows what they've been doing in the meantime? If they got a better offer, if Thrawn swooped in and said, "Hey, I got work for y'all."
Could be,
Yeah.
or they could
I
just they
mean-
could have just wanted revenge, like because
And
we don't know what
all
Moff
of the
Gideon did to that.
above. All of the above, man.
And if this was a bad show, it would be spelled out for us. But we have
right.
multiple alleys to wander through
Right.
in the dark and find out who's right and who's wrong.
Fair
So
point,
think-
Steve.
I think those are all really good points to end this discussion on and move on to segments with. I think the last thing that I wanted to say about Ahsoka and Sabine possibly being the ones to take Moff Gideon, the only reason that could be is because Ahsoka is looking for Thrawn.
but they
Yeah,
wouldn't have killed the New Republic guys.
No, but
they wouldn't
No,
have left them for dead like that.
But there could be
You're
some
right.
delightful blackmail going on.
It's true. It's very true. And you never know with Thrawn. He's a crazy mastermind and war tactician. So it's going to be extremely fun.
He likes to think that he is at least 5 steps ahead of everyone else in the galaxy.
Well, he usually is for the most part.
Yes,
He is.
he does have that fatal flaw of hubris, though.
Yeah, he does.
he's very much a Greek tragedy kind of villain.
Yep. And
Pride
the
is a
cool
weakness.
thing about Thrawn is that once he comes around, I think he's going to be around this series, this Mandoverse, for a while. I think he's going to be the main villain, and we see smaller villains pop up as time goes on.
Sorry, just
thank you.
had that mental image of Thrawn doing karaoke singing "When I Come Around," and it's just
See, Josh, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. Thrawn is Mando versus Thanos.
yeah,
Yeah, for sure.
He's definitely building to be the big bad of the
Dude.
entirety of Mandalorian.
When Jon Favreau got signed on to this, I called Thrawn immediately.
You did.
I just
You
gotta
did.
say,
Oh, yeah.
it's been years since Twist
Season
My
1,
Arm
man.
was still a thing, since before Quest Me even happened. Like this, I've been. I'm about to make a YouTube video and about all these different things that I've said in older
Pepe
podcasts.
to Sylvia.
And
Yeah,
thank
dude.
the
Yes.
maker that it did. Otherwise, I wouldn't have made the friends that I did. So
Absolutely. And I think that's a wonderful, wonderful note to end on with.
That's a
this
good
discussion.
segue into the segments.
Into
Steve.
some
Thank you,
segments,
man.
yeah. So let's do that. I think anything else that we had to talk about in this episode is going to be said in segments. So let's start with our first one, which most of the time is
He's no good to me dead.
He will not be permanently damaged.
Boba's Bounty, of course, is the part of the show where we talk about our favorite new character, planet, ship, gun, whatever, new thing introduced into live action. Let's start with Steve and his Boba's Bounty. Tell us about why you picked MF Zeb.
I called dibs, and that's just because Rebels is by far my favorite of any of the. Well, I mean, it is canon. But would you like the Legend spin-offs and whatnot? I actually saw Rebels before I saw the majority of Clone Wars because the first few seasons I didn't.
I love that.
I
think
didn't.
that's awesome.
I didn't get into it. And then when Rebels came out, like I was already enlisted and I was watching them like this is great. And then of course when Disney Plus happened, it was all much more readily available. But yeah, that show, I just there's not a single bad episode. I don't skip a single one. I love
And-
I love
This is
like
why I
each
love you, Steve.
And again, Steve Bloom.
mm,
Like when we did Bebop, I talked about how much I
Bang.
adore that man as a voice actor. You know,
When I
talked
saw
Bebop,
this, I paused it.
So
and I got on Twitter and I was like, oh man, I don't want to spoil it for everybody. So I just said at Steve Bloom, welcome back, sir. Welcome back.
yeah,
I saw that.
So
he's
You know, it's funny
he's
because
high up on my tier of voice actors I haven't met yet that I want to.
it's funny because when this actually, so listen, I woke up early Wednesday morning. We moved Tuesday, right? We had to move down from a
Did
third
you even
floor
actually
apartment.
sleep in between, like when you finished moving shit in and when you fired up
I-
the episode?
I did. But I started watching this episode at about 7 o'clock in the morning. I had been up till about 2 or 3 the night before doing moving and stuff. I woke up at 7, started watching this, and I saw Zeb come in, and I was like, wait, that looks a lot like Zeb. Like, it kind of sounds like him, but, like, there's no way they'd do that. No way. Like, that, I'm pretty sure, like, that's just got to be one of his, like, species, right? And then I went and did a little bit of research, and I was like, holy shit, that was actually Zeb.
Most of his species is on the colony. So
that was my thought at first, was just like, oh, we've just got another Lasat. And then I was like, no, holy shit, that's Steve Bloom's voice.
But he's so good. Steve Bloom is so good at voice acting that he's doing an older Zeb. If you go back and watch Rebels, it's a much younger voice.
Yeah, no, he did a very good job of, making the characters seem like he had seen some shit in the time since we last saw him and the crew of the Ghost.
And of course, it's only been about 5 years since we have 7. But of course, it's like 7 years of combat. So
yeah, it's some intense shit.
We say you age 3 years for every year. So
and it was
I
makes sense.
I absolutely believe that.
Yeah,
at least my joints have. So
oh god,
not the rest of me.
You still have joints?
Yeah, I know, right?
Congratulations, man.
Yeah, good job. Also,
one day you'll be able to get oh my gosh, I can't even. Why can't I say it? Ligament injections, just right. It's like, oh, cool. I need a charge of my ligament joints.
My cartilage is wearing around.
Thank you. Couldn't say cartilage. I don't know why.
I got you. Human body. I got.
Excellent choice, though.
I was going to say,
Bubba's Bounty.
Awesome
Excellent
pick.
choice.
It was what I wanted to pick, but when you said it, I was like, all right, dude.
It was what we all wanted to pick. Let's Steve have it because he's our guest.
I did play guest power on that one. So.
Yeah, no, that's
low hanging fruit.
Okay.
Totally,
but it's
totally
my favorite series, and everyone knows that. So
totally,
and especially because you're a big Bebop fan as well, and Bloom played Spike Spiegel in Bebop.
Hey Jesse, if you're still here, I changed my hashtag to hashtag not my vicious to hashtag too much vicious, and I'm still enjoying rewatching the remixed Cowboy Bebop on Netflix.
It's a good one.
Actually, I canceled Netflix. I'm pirating it.
Look, man, I have like
Pirates.
I've told everyone to watch that live action Bebop. I thought it was fantastic. I don't care.
So much fun. So much fun.
I love Harold.
Hashtag too much vicious though.
Maybe. Anyway, excellent pick. Let's move on to let's go to Phil's Boba's Bounty, which is Mr. Tim Meadows himself. Tell us why you picked this for Boba's Bounty.
Because it's Tim Meadows. Okay. I love early 90s Saturday Night Live. So I mean it's Tim Meadows playing the unintentionally obstructive bureaucrat. He's literally just trying to get through his day. He's got a droid dumping stuff on his desk. And I love, by the way, that he's getting the same type of like workload delivery that we already saw in with Pershing.
Oh yeah,
that's just a nice throwback. The droid comes in just with all these little pads for him. It's like, no, here's your shit.
Don't you drop it there.
I loved his behavior. We get a little bit of comedy with him, and just it's Tim Meadows showing up in Star Trek, man. I don't even know what else needs to be said.
I was really hoping for some sort of ladies' man quote, but I digress.
I didn't leave the South Side for this.
Didn't leave the South Side of Coruscant for this.
So good.
What I love about his segment is that they're showing that the rebellion is over. The rebellion won, but was the rebellion technically right? And then on the other hand, we have, I believe, that's what I was really going to get at, is that these...
Jesse, shut up. I've been drinking.
These episodes, all the titles have been that's when like one word titles where they've been referring to two people. Like for instance, the foundling in that episode was referring to Grogu and of course to Paz's son. The convert was referring to both Bo-Katan and to Dr. Pershing. And this one is the pirate, where the pirate word doesn't have much. It has to do with the pirate himself. But the duality of this episode,
Wesley.
The duality of this episode is that the New Republic is kind of wrong because they're boggled by bureaucracy, whereas the freedom of Navarro not bowing to the bureaucracy is still then open to death and destruction because they're unprotected. So it's like, who's right? And we don't necessarily know yet.
No, and to go ahead and jump in and give Josh some audio to play with. It's Tim Meadows in Star Wars, man.
Thank you.
There we go. Now you got it. Now you have a clear cut of that one.
Excellent. That was an excellent pick, Phil. And thank you for giving us that great description of Tim Meadows in Star Wars.
No, he doesn't, Jesse.
Justin,
no. That's canon now.
Pick. And you this week decided to pick the Ugnaught. Tell us why you picked Ugnaught.
Oh, are you kidding me? Like the little pirate Ugnaught, and he reminds me of the cartoon version of Shmi from Peter Pan. Like he has lines, and he's like communicating with the officer, and it just is bad news. Everything he says is just bad news for Gorian Shard.
And he reminded me so much of Bob Hoskins in Hook.
Yes.
Oh, wasn't he
as Smee?
There you go.
Just
now, does he have a patch on his forehead? But it's more of a monocle that he can lower down to see things for the captain. So it's not a patch; it's a monocle.
Okay, let's. Can we talk about eye patches really quickly?
Oh Lord.
Please.
No,
they're functional.
They're functional. You know why most pirates would wear an eye patch?
Yeah, to keep the day to night transition.
They'd have a dark adjusted eye when they went below decks. They just
because what do you not have below decks?
Light
windows.
Yeah, no. It's
that's very interesting and makes a ton of sense.
Yeah,
they have windows on a cruise ship or a starship.
Well, on this deck.
Which is why it's on his forehead.
Yeah, he doesn't need it right now.
There's light on the whole starship. I can't believe that.
But his is that looks like a lens of some kind, not a patch.
And it probably is.
But it's singular, and so it's a lens that is.
It is evocative.
But I mean, look at his little sash and the knife in the front.
Man.
That is iconic, pirate look.
Yeah, but Jesse, starships in the Enterprise don't have fucking seat belts, man.
And the Kelvin they do.
Kelvin universe.
Oh my god. This is turning into a.
That is a whole other podcast, you guys. Come on.
Follow Quest. Damn it, I did it wrong. Follow Open Pike Night for more.
I love that pick, Justin. The Ugnaught,
no, it's spectacular, and I love seeing one of the Ugnaughts outside of the
typical role.
The typical role. We've seen them in universe. We've seen most of them in the underbelly of Bespin, where they are the ones who dismantled C-3PO. Well, who messed around with dismantled C-3PO.
Yeah. I love that he's got this little knife in his satchel.
Yes.
Isn't it cute?
Can we talk about briefly how many melee weapons the Gorian Shard's pirates are carrying? They've got swords. They've got knives.
Yeah.
I love it. I mean, they have blasters too. And they're,
I feel
not single shot, flintlock kind of shit. But
I feel like this episode was made for you, Phil, because you're kind of like a pirate.
He's a pirate buff.
Right? Am I wrong there?
That is kind of my thing.
I feel left out. Am I the only one here who has all my teeth? I don't qualify.
Absolutely. I don't have all my teeth at all.
This one's fake.
Yep, I don't qualify.
Yeah. Anyway.
And yes, he is like Davy Jones if Davy Jones got left at the salad bar.
Oh my god.
Covers that one.
Dudes. I love all of those picks for Boba's Bounty.
What's
My
yours?
pick this week
Come on, Josh.
was
Give
the
me.
island that the Adelphi base was placed on. I could not figure out what this planet was.
Is it an island or is it a peninsula?
Listen, librarian. That's
I don't
enough
know about the
from
fourth
you.
side.
But I loved being introduced to a rebel base on a different planet that had like a tropical island. You know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like this whole new. This is like the introduction to Rangers of the New Republic. I feel like.
Yeah. No, I mean,
I feel like
Adelphi.
this could
Adelphi
be the
planet,
the
but-
new base for it. So, I was very appreciative of, again, and I picked this scene because you get to see the Y-wing right here landing. You see the X-wing right here taking off, and it was just a wonderful portrayal of a fun Republic base. I almost said Rebel base, but Republic base.
So not everybody got screwed over in the Republic winning. Like these guys are having a ball. Like, but poor Tim
absolutely.
Meadows is bogged down in bureaucratic bullshit.
It's all red
So-
tape, man.
I'd like to
these
be
guys
on
are
the
just hanging out
island
on the
bar.
beach.
Oh yeah. No. If I could not have a promotion to colonel, I'll keep captain and
Red
hang out on McHale's Navy in space.
Red tape standing by.
Oh my
That's too
God.
good.
Thank you guys so much for your picks for Boba's Bounty this week. We're going to move on to our next segment, which, of course, is... the Sarlacc Killer Scene. It's that time of the week where we pick our favorite still shot of each episode. We're going to continue the same lineup, I guess. I don't know. We're going to start
Order?
with... Yeah, order. Thank you. God, these drinks, Phil. They got me going.
You
They got
guys
me
are
good.
pretty drunk right now.
I'm
We're a
I'm
little
just
toasty.
saying I'm good at what I do.
We're
You
doing
drink
great.
and know things.
We're doing great. So, Steve, your shot comes in at the 27-minute and 5-second mark. Tell us about this shot.
So I'll admit I completely forgot about season 1 where the armorer decimates a squad of stormtroopers with her hammer. But she takes him out. But I was thinking like, oh, we saw her fight and train Din in Boba Fett with the hammer and her pliers. We never actually got to see it in action. So I apologize for thinking this was the first time, but it was still great.
It's all
It was
good,
still great to
man.
see it again. And of course, in this shot, you knew, oh, shit about to go down. And you knew these guys would have had just seeing her walk in. They had no chance.
When she drops into the combat, you know that shit has gotten serious.
And of course, this was the final, I believe. No, there's one more escalation, but yeah, this battle kept having moments of escalation, and this was, I guess, number 2. I'll call it number 2 of escalation, and like, so it was a good like, oh, like they're pinned down again. What's going to happen? And then the hammer flashes across the screen, like, oh,
Takes
cool.
out a turret by hand.
Everybody's fine.
She laid the hammer down. I love the
Ooh.
like...
That's a good one. That's a one-timer.
You want me to bring the
love
hammer
the-
down?
Yeah, I love the pan up of the hammer that she's holding down like at her side, and you know, like as she's walking up. This is a classic shot in like Deus Ex Machina movies, you know, where they have the shot of someone holding their weapon at their side, walking up to the enemies and just beating the shit out of them. And not only did she beat the shit out of them, but she picked somebody up by their spinal column. Okay, like that is brutality at its finest.
It is the best hammer-based combat scene I have seen since fucking Old Boy. So
And how many pliers or tongs based combat scenes are there? I'm going to say next to none. And this one has a spine involved. So
yeah,
God,
Win.
it was so good. Wonderful pick, Steve. Thank you for that one.
hey,
Let's
pull
go
up
to-
what Ricky just said. I also agree with that. That would have been cool.
Ricky says, instead of clobbering pirates with the closed tongs, she should have opened the hinge, used them like nunchucks. That would have been sick.
My God,
I agree.
Ricky and I
agree.
just agreed.
Huh, that's a first.
I guess I'm out. Bye, guys.
Fighting with pliers? I mean,
God. Speaking of Phil,
got
let's
him.
move on
Put
to
those down.
his-
You're gonna hurt someone.
probably myself.
Probably. So Phil's Starlight Killer scene this week, and listen, I gotta say, I gotta toot my own horn, brush my shoulders off or whatever. I am very proud of getting this shot at the exact moment that we got it, but it comes in at the 25-minute and 25-second mark. Tell us about this shot, Phil.
Big damn heroes, sir. This is Paz Vizsla dropping in, jetpacking in to give backup and cover fire to the other Mandalorians as they are under fire from pirates. And in the immortal words of my favorite character from Team Fortress 2, I am heavy weapons guy.
That's excellent. I love the shot. I love the MacGuffin of this, where he just plops in. He's definitely the second team, because they drop the first team and they get pinned down, and the second team drops in, and he just wipes the floor with them.
Send in the heavy trooper.
Yep.
Yeah.
And again, just Paz having worked out a lot of his shit with Din.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, I'm here. Let's go.
Right.
I definitely appreciated this as well. It was my second choice for killer scene.
Yeah.
Because the Mandos, that when they said they got pinned down, but then it's like, is the age old thing of, you guys have jetpacks. How are you pinned down? So maybe it's following in episode 3, 4, where we learned that the jetpacks do run out of fuel. So maybe they did burn all their fuel on that drop, and they couldn't quite just burst out of there. So, and then of course the payoff is that we get to see Paz
the
once again
payoff
use the big gun.
Just lighting shit up, and it's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes, Jesse. Excellent point. Jesse mentions that the Mandos are thinking in 3 dimensions, which, guess what? That is a hallmark of which Star Wars character being able to think in multiple dimensions.
Thrawn. Hashtag
Right.
Thrawn is coming.
Hashtag Thrawn is coming.
Marty,
No,
you're just
we
not
got-
thinking fourth dimensionally.
Please keep that hashtag going, guys. Hashtag Thrawn is coming on everything. Even if
But
you
yes,
post about
that's-
the breakfast you had, hashtag Thrawn is coming. I don't care. Just do it.
Oh man, that explains why my fucking fried eggs were blue and red this morning. Fuck.
Phil, you
Excellent
might
pick.
want to switch grocers.
No, seriously. I mean, eggs are expensive though, y'all. Have you tried?
Dude, they are so expensive.
They're not expensive. They're like $1 more. I don't know why people are freaking out.
Well, I'd be
get
freaking out
it.
if they were blue.
If
and
they're
red.
blue, yeah.
No, that's
And they
did
bullshit.
smell
that.
Or better yet, Phil, what kind of drugs do you have in your house? Because I would like some.
I'm not sharing, man. You're too far away.
That's fair. I would just, if I could see green and red eggs, that sounds like a good breakfast.
Green eggs and ham.
I'm not the colorblind one in my family.
Anyway,
On to the
awesome
next.
pick,
Hey,
Phil.
Ricky and I are
That
back
was a-
disagreeing.
That was a wonderful pick. I love seeing Paz Vizsla drop in and use his gun as it was meant to be used. The next Starlight Killer scene comes from Justin, and it comes in at the 21-minute and 20-second mark. Tell us about this scene, Justin.
See, I chose this because I know you guys were going to take all the good ones. So to me, this was just like good comedy. It's the 2 drunken sailors or pirates hanging outside of the church/bar.
One drunk
And-
Warren, one drunk.
Yeah,
Shan.
you don't really see the alcohol too prevalent in Star Wars. So it was funny to see this scene happen. So they're drinking, they're talking a little shit or whatever the hell the Quarian and the Trandoshan say, and then they just pull out their blasters and start shooting the lizard monkeys. I loved it. And then even the better thing that ties it in, the lizard monkeys told the Mandalorians that the ambush is coming around. They pointed out him.
Yeah.
Like,
That
no,
was
screw these guys.
The best.
Wasn't it?
Just that the monkey lizards were just like, Nah, hey, man, those fuckers shot at us. Fuck those guys. Hey, you guys in the armor taking them out. They're up there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I love that. And I love seeing, to be honest with you, because of this episode, because Phil and I have been drinking these drinks and are absolutely at this point right now of these guys.
You shooting lizard monkeys?
I'm going to Photoshop our faces on these guys and send it over to you, Phil. It's going to be great. But excellent pick, Justin. Thank you for that one. I like seeing drunken pirates. It's a good time.
You got to come hang out with me and my friends this summer, man.
I absolutely will. My pick for this week, because you guys all took the good ones, comes into the 28-minute.
Oh, but that's a solid good one. Come on. That's Just Cause 2 with Rico Rodriguez or whatever the heck his name was.
No, I had to pick this scene because I actually rewound it a couple times because I wanted to make sure it was a Mandalorian taking down this snub fighter. And it absolutely was. He jumps off the ship and jetpacks on out of there. And I just thought this was one of the coolest aspects of the Mandalorians. It seemed like this guy right here, this guy that's on this snub fighter, he realized that the ground troops that he was with had taken over the city and that everything was fine. And he wanted to go help the Mando in the sky. And he's like, I got some jet fuel. I'm going to go take out one of these snub fighters. And decided to fly up and take him out. So
I got Beskar. Who needs a fighter?
yeah, he was bored. He was like, I'm just going to go up and take out this fighter. It's going to be sick. And yeah, watching that scene was a lot of fun.
See, when I saw it, I just thought plot hole. I'm like, how the hell did he get up there? That's badass, but when did that happen?
He absolutely jumped up there as soon as they realized the city had been taken. He was like, well, I'm going to go take out some of these other fighters. I'm bored.
I can do this.
Yep. So anyway, excellent picks for the Starlight Killer scene this week, guys. We have one more segment to go through. Well, two more, I guess. We're going to go through one-chimers and then rate this episode and then get the F out of here. So let's do the bumper. This is by far the longest episode that we've had this season, and this segment is called the One-Chimers, where we pick our favorite set of dialogue for this episode. We're going to continue the trend and start with Steve. Here is his One-Chimer.
Be careful, my friend. They've got you outnumbered 10-1.
I like those odds.
I bet you do.
So why did you pick that?
Oh, good
set, Steve?
Good callback to the, I believe that's episode 1 of Mandalorian.
Yes.
Or is
yeah, the very first
one.
First or
I should
second,
say. Yeah.
where he's in the room with, I would like to see the baby guy, and
I forget if it's even before he goes on the quest. I think he's just like Mexican standoff with the stormtroopers.
No, he has the baby. He takes the baby back to the Imperials, and then he's surrounded by 5 stormtroopers, and the guy's like, "Do you like those odds?" or something.
Yeah.
He says, "We got you 4-1," and he's like, "I like those odds." So
yeah.
And then of course with Grief's follow up with like, "I bet you do." That was us, the audience, going, "Yeah, I remember that line." And so.
Yep.
There were a lot of good lines this episode, and I chose to go with the easy one of calling back to what we all started loving the show for, and we're going to keep loving it.
And it's a wonderful pick. I love that line. I like those odds. Anytime there's some sort of odds line in Star Wars, it just reminds me of
Never tell me the odds.
Exactly. So wonderful pick. Thank you so much. Let's move on let's go with Justin's One-Chimer.
Why should we lay our lives down yet again? Because we are Mandalorians.
I mean, how can you not get pumped up? Well, yeah, of course, the scene itself is a wonderful speech, but like Paz starts off like strong, firm, and you think he's gonna like negate everything that Din just said, and then he says, "Fuck it, I'm right behind you because we are Mandalorians." I love that support that he showed Din during that, and overall, it was simple. It's like the 300 scene. This is Sparta.
And even so, I don't think he was even he made a point about Din, but I don't think he was even supporting Din. I think he was supporting the way. And if they were going to follow the way, they have to walk it, and not forget it.
And this was almost mine, Justin. I had severely considered picking this one for mine because, again, like with the R5 scene, we get a bait and switch with Paz. It's like, nah, he's just gonna shoot Mando's plans down. He's gonna sit there and he's gonna be in Din's way. He's gonna sit there. He's gonna be in Din's way, and he's just gonna say, "No, fuck it. We don't need this problem. This is not our problem."
Yeah.
And then he's
I
like,
thought
"No,
that's how it was going to be too."
That's the thing. He builds that speech so well. It's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. Great pick for the one chimer. I won't lie to you. I edited that down a little bit. That whole clip is probably about 18 to 20 seconds long, because of the dramatic pauses that they give.
Pause.
But I cut it down a little bit just for the chimer because Phil decided to have a super long one chimer. So let's play that one.
From this day forward, I, Magistrate Grief Karga.
Hi, Magistrate, sir.
Hi, Magistrate Grief Karga. Hereby cede all land from the western lava flats to Bullock Canyon. To the fine people of Mandalore, you may no longer have a home planet. But you do now have a home. Welcome.
So, Phil, tell us why you picked that one chimer.
Two reasons. One, the droid correcting him with "Hi, Magistrate," because nice throwback to our first episode from this season.
And then he looks around like, I'm supposed to. Everyone agree with me. Like I'm doing my job.
I got laughs.
And then second, the name of the canyon is the best shout out in this series so far.
Please,
because Bullock Canyon is a direct reference to Jeremy Bullock, the actor who originally played Boba Fett in the OG Star Wars trilogy.
Who I believe did he pass away right before Boba's returned to Mando?
A year or two ago, he passed away.
Yeah, but was it before Mando? Was it before Boba actually showed up on Mando, or was it before Boba Fett?
He died in December of 2020, so he died before Book of Boba Fett.
But he saw Boba Fett return to the screen.
He did see Boba Fett return to the screen.
Yeah.
So,
that's an excellent pick too.
It was a
great speech at the end there.
Good speech, good plot building, and nice shout outs.
Yeah. So my one chimer for this week.
Then I'm just gonna have to go there and talk to them myself. They can't ignore me face to face.
I like your attitude. Good luck. You're gonna need it.
I know it's a little quiet. It'll be turned up in the actual recorded version of this. But my one chimer is technically Zeb reciting Han Solo, saying, "Good luck.
You're gonna need
it." I
love
that
beautiful callback.
Yes, so good. And I love Teva going, well, they can't just fucking ignore me. I'm gonna go there and show my face and see what happens, and
he underestimates the power of the bureaucracy.
Yep. So it was a really cool just a callback scene to Jedi and getting Zeb and his snarkiness and seeing Teva and how noble he actually is, like how good of a leader he could be for the Rangers of the New Republic. It was just a great scene, all in all. So thank you guys so much for participating in this week's One Chimer. Let's move on to our final segment. That's right, it's the Tusken Raider, the part of the show where we rate each episode. This has been the longest episode of Quest Me since we started the show, and I love that. Let's start with Steve. What's your rating out of 10 pirates?
Well, I give this episode of Mandalorian a 10, and I give this episode of Rangers of the New Republic an 8. So we'll call that a 9.
Okay. All right. That's perfect. Phil, what about you? What's your rating for this week?
This was Blazing Saddles in space. It's no, it was pretty spectacular. We had great battle sequences, great speeches, great dialogue, great cameos, phenomenal music. I got to give this one a 9 out of 10. Only reason is I'm holding back. I am reserving the possibility of a 10 for the season finale. I still think it's a little early in the season to drop my own, to drop a 10 rating, but
strong choice.
I get it.
I mean, I'm a regular host. I'm not just a guest. I can't just, drop a 10 because I'm there for that episode and gone.
I get that. Justin, what's your rating for this week?
Oh, I agree with Phil. This is a damn good episode, and it's hard to rate a 10 because I don't know what that 10 quality is. So this is my highest rated episode at 9.25. Yeah. I love the choreography, the dogfights, the music, especially that first one. It was just the psychedelic rock was cool. I really dug that. That was awesome. But the fight scenes, the power, the motivation, everything combined into one made it a wonderful, fun episode to just follow along with.
I like it. I like that rating. I'm going to tell you right now, I'm rating this episode a 10 out of 10.
A 10!
Like I said at the beginning of the show, this is a perfect Star Wars episode for me. It has everything. It has mystery. It has setup. It has action. It has awesome aliens. It has fun dialogue. It has everything for me. I'm rating this one a 10. And I fully believe that I will rate another episode a 10 by the end of this season. And this will be the first time that I have rated 2 10s.
See, I may, by the end of the season, I may look back and say this was a 10 out of 10.
I mean, maybe. We'll see.
Hey, man, it's Star Wars. You can retcon anything.
If the Pirates have more to do with this than we think, then it could be an 11 out of 10. Who knows?
Well, not these pirates. These pirates are dumb. They float their ship in the atmosphere. Come on, man.
This is why we need Hondo.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Hondo Naka.
Agreed.
But he has no crew. He's a lone pirate.
He's technically given up on the piracy at this point.
That's true.
He sells those pigs that balloon.
Right.
Huh. So this week it was a 93 out of 100.
Nice.
As we rated it. That's probably the highest episode that we've had all season. I fully expect an episode to be higher than that by the time we are done. But that's going to be about it for this week of Quest Me. I thank you again, Steve Sinecera, for joining us. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I love having you on this show.
Pleasure is all mine.
Can you tell our listeners and viewers where they can find you? I know you have a shop and stuff that you do. Why don't you tell us about that?
I've got an Etsy shop where I've been making some things, but it's got a bit of a back burner for me at the moment because recently I have joined up with the California Browncoats, which is a charity organization that is based around Firefly. So that's why I was at WonderCon, and that's why I'll be at Comic-Con this year. I'm going to try and make some of my nerdy carvings for them. They have a bunch already, and it's just, I've gone down from my warehouse to my one-car garage, and so it's harder to do. But more importantly, this year marks the year that I will actually be joining the podcast ranks as a podcaster, because it is 20 years since the premiere of Battlestar Galactica.
Oh, no longer just a podcastee.
Correct. And so I miss my friend, and he moved to Texas, and he was my Battlestar Galactica compatriot. And so we are going to be doing a rewatch podcast. And just like Sudden But Inevitable, we will be bringing on a newbie that has never watched the show. And we will have guests, and I believe the gimmick would be is that he's the newbie, my friend is a historian, and I am a former military member. And so we all have a different perspective, and we've all seen it multiple times aside from the newbie. And we'd love to get to talking about it and talking with my friend. And of course, I've already got. I may or may not have Katie Sackhoff in the pipeline, as well as Edward James Olmos himself. Who,
dude? I mean, I am a huge,
awesome.
huge fan of Ronald Moore's work, just from his writing and direction work on Star Trek. So, power to you, man, for digging into
awesome.
Battlestar. That's awesome.
So, fun fact: I've actually never seen Battlestar either, but I might start watching it.
If you start watching it and then you want to be a second newbie, you're welcome to join.
That was definitely Josh hinting at you.
I could be down. I couldn't do much else other than watch it and talk about it for an hour and a half a week.
Well, hey man, my people will call your people.
Yeah, call my people. That sounds good. And obviously, like, as things go on, we'll have show notes and links and stuff for your podcast, and for you and your shop and you on Twitter.
Thank you, sir. So the series did premiere 20 years ago in December, so I have until then to get it off the ground. I just got my first mic, so
hey, that's the beginning of a beautiful thing. Jesse says dibs guest slot. He's never seen it.
Right. And my newbie, if anyone has heard of him, is Chester Sakamoto from the History Loves Company podcast. So his so his podcasting experience will be
a lot of fun, man.
He is the one who actually has the podcasting experience. So we'll be using his knowledge plus what I've learned working with you fine gentlemen. And
nice. Hey man, and if you need anything, let me know. I can help you out. Give you some pointers, advice. I'm sure Jesse would be more than happy to do the same thing.
This is the way.
This is the way.
Ricky, I'm ignoring you.
Ricky says, I always felt like Battlestar Galactica was for losers. Justin, you had something else that you wanted to say.
We will be live again in 1 week, next Sunday, around 8:30 Mountain Standard Time, right here at youtube.com/@questme.
And
smooth.
I'm pretty excited because he's been talking shit whole episode, and he's gonna be here next week. Right.
So will I.
Next week's guest host is gonna be the one and only Ricky D.
From Best
He
Flicks
is
with
coming
Ricky D.
out of his podcast retirement. You would know him from Best Flicks with Ricky D. He's got his birthday coming up, which means that there is going to be a bonus kind of get together to talk about shit. What episode of Freaks and Geeks are you guys on now?
Episode 2.
Episode 2. Because that's right. It's an annual Freaks and Geeks rewatch where they do one episode every year for Ricky D's birthday.
So good. I am extremely excited to have Ricky on next week. And
I am
thanks.
Stoked. Ricky and I were college roommates, so I am looking forward to getting to hang out and chat with him again.
It's going to be great. Big thanks to Ricky for being in the chat. Also, Jesse and Claire and anyone else that was hanging out with us tonight. We always appreciate you guys chatting with us and talking Star Wars and Mandalorian. Once again, you can find us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search for Quest Me Podcast. I want to thank everyone in the chat and on the screen for joining us this week. Steve, it has been wonderful having you on the show again. We got to do this more for sure. And have your people contact my people, because I would
they're working on it right now.
Get into Battlestar Galactica and actually talk about that show. I have heard that I would like it. I have heard that as a sci-fi nerd that watches a lot of sci-fi, that I would enjoy Battlestar Galactica.
Well, did you like Firefly?
I loved it, yes.
A Firefly class makes a cameo within the first 3 seconds of the show. So,
Do you like Jimi Hendrix?
It's all downhill from there.
yeah.
So-
Do you like Jimi Hendrix?
And I ruined it for you.
You didn't
Do
ruin
you
it.
like Huey Lewis and the News?
Oh my god.
That's more of the open pike style of like the one word spoiler. You won't know what it means now, but in several seasons you may or may not know.
Oh my god. Well, anyway, we're gonna get the hell out of here because we've been doing this podcast for over 2 hours, and
Oh, yes.
that's awesome. I love talking about Star Wars, and I could do it all night long. We're gonna do a brief sign off. Hopefully, this goes a little bit better than normal. But for Quest Me, I have been your host.
This is the way, so say we all.
Oh man, he hit Battlestar Galactica and Mandalorian in one fucking sign off. I don't know that I can beat that, y'all.
Live long and prosper.
I'm Philip K. You can find me at FlipWriter.
And I'm Justin. This is the way.
And of course, my name is Josh. May the Force be with you.